bring the boom. Dynamite, let's go ignite. Elements collide in the flash of light. And you feel the boom, that means it's time. Light the fuse, bring the boom. Dynamite.
And welcome to the Red Leaf Retrocast Wrestling Podcast. It's episode 66, titled Dangerous 5-Star Night. I'm your host, JD, and joined once again by my co-host in the hot seat, Kay, from the Big Egg Joshi Podcast. How you doing, my friend?
Doing all right. How about yourself?
Little slow at work these days, but definitely no shortage of wrestling to watch.
Oh, God, no. Way too much wrestling, actually.
It's a lot. It's basically every day at this point, something new comes out. Luckily, this weekend was much more manageable, just kind of hanging out, chilling. Got a lot of G1 to watch these days. You wanted to watch it? We're doing it.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely.
Is this the most men's wrestling you've watched in like 5 years?
About 2 or 3, yeah. Something like that.
Been a little while. How you liking it so far?
It's different. I've definitely gotten a little bit more variety with, like, Dragon Gate, DDT, and New Japan all kind of being very different in their own ways. And then obviously AEW being its own thing entirely.
Right, it's Western wrestling. I like a variety on this show. I think we cover a lot. Even the Joshi promotions we cover are very much different from each other.
Yes, variety is very, very important. You don't get burned out with variety. At least I don't.
No, everything seems to be spaced out as well to a point. The 5-star... You know what? Let's just go down this freaking agenda we got going here. Good God. There was a short little seed show we're going to intro the cast with shortly. AEW had 3 Dynamites to go over, but that's just Mom and I going over again, as usual, September 16th and September 23rd. DDT had a short little fun show that just happened today upon recording. But set up a bunch of things for Ultimate Party in November, some Korakuen shows, so just got some neat things written down there that we can go over. The Joshi stuff, we got Ice Ribbon. They had a big show called Ribbon Nights, the Suzu Suzuki's first big Infinity title match. Some Peace Party notes, another little dojo show with some important notes there. Stardom finally finished their 5-star Grand Prix. A lot of good stuff to talk about with what happened there. Dragon Gate had Dangerous Gate, along with a little Fallout show. I really can't wait to talk about Dangerous Gate. That is probably my show of the year.
Oh, it was so much fun. It'd be at least number 2 or 3 for me. It was so much fun, though.
It's definitely in the top 5, no matter what you say. We got 5 nights of the G1 to kind of give our short thoughts of what's happening, what's over, how we think it's done so far, some of our top matches, and then we get into our retro stuff. All Japan Women Classics, episode 29, New Japan through the 90s, finishing out February 1993 with a Sapporo Sports Center show. And then we got our favorite, WCW Nitro, the day after Starrcade 1998.
Oh, I am looking forward to that.
I do not have the Nitro drops, but it's going to be really fun to talk about nonetheless, of how just up and down the show is. So that's our agenda.
There was some highlights there, definitely.
That is our agenda here, as I'll take a sip of water here. Okay, so let's get started here. We got Seedling, nice little Joshi promotion building up to a big, Korakuen Hall show they're doing?
It was Shinjuku Face, actually. I don't think it was a Korakuen show at all.
Okay, Shinjuku Face, Yoshiko defending the title against Sari.
And what I hear was a very good match.
Supposedly it is. It's going to be on Nico Pro. Last minute decision, as I am told. Is this correct?
Yeah, I don't know if it's last minute, but it was definitely something that was just found out like last night.
Okay.
So...
Well, in the meantime, they had a build-up show from September 14th in Shinkiba, which didn't air on anything we could see, but they did throw up the matches in kind of a clipped form on their YouTube channel that you can see. Decent little fun matches, I will say.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I think maybe at least the Sari Yoshiko match benefited probably from the clip show, because at least you got the good highlights from the match, and I imagine it wasn't like the chain work that was in the middle.
Well, the match was only inside 10 minutes and saw Sari defeat Yoshiko in quick fashion, so that's kind of the build going there. And then the other build was the 20-minute match in which we only saw about half of it. Very disappointing, but it's the Best Friends taking on Max Voltage. That's Takase and Ryo Mizunami. That's coming off of Mizunami pinning Yoshiko and wanting the tag titles. But with the Best Friends going to, their draw matchup against the current tag champions, that's Yoshiko and Matsumoto, they weren't going to just step aside and have Max Voltage just leap in front. So that's what this match was here. And it saw the Best Friends actually beat Max Voltage in pinning Takase. Kind of makes the Mizunami move look like a bit of a dumb move because Takase ate the pin.
It does a little bit.
Yeah.
It does a little bit. I think she'll challenge for the singles belt at least. She'll probably get that much. I think there's still room you can do that, but I think the Best Friends are going to win the tag belts anyways, so that seems what they're building towards, at least.
That does seem what it's being set up for. And Yoshiko, the two scenarios that they've built here is, yes, it does draw interest with Sari beating Yoshiko once for the title match, but with Sari on her going away to WWE tour, which a lot of fans are comparing to the Toni Storm going away tour, where she's not allowed to eat pins. So it has, at least in my mind, it either ends with Sari winning the title and then dropping it, which would be the dumbest move in the world, or it goes to a 30-minute draw, and we won't give spoilers here, but have been told that the match is worth seeking out and watching. So that at least gives me peace of mind.
Right. Well, I think with the Toni Storm thing, it wasn't even a going away thing. It was just NXT UK coming into Stardom during the time I think WWE was trying to buy Stardom. And like you said, it was a lot of Toni Storm not being able to eat pins. Even Xia Brookside wasn't allowed to eat pins. It was very not a lot of fun. People didn't really enjoy that much, especially the Xia stuff, because she wasn't really booked that high before. But
no, so it just comes off as absurd.
Yeah, just a bit.
Yeah. So hopefully we'll get a good seedling show coming up. It definitely has my interest, especially the tag title situation. That's probably the most, considering we've seen 2 straight 30-minute draws between the four people involved.
Right. Hopefully you don't get another one of those. I think I've had enough draws for once.
Yeah, I'm definitely tired of 30-minute draws between the 4 of them.
Right. It's gonna get a little ridiculous at this point, right?
Yeah, it's very old school booking there that just doesn't translate well fully in 2020.
It's an eye for you, right? She's still got the very old school mindset.
Yeah, well, that's what Seedling is. It comes across as that old school promotion, old school Joshi promotion. That's what sets it apart.
Right. They're like Sendai, but with stories. So I'd say that's about a good comparison. They're like what Sendai Girls would be but with stories.
Yeah, that is an apt comparison, I would say. You have some Actress Girls news for us.
Yes. Very recently, actually. So Riko Kawahata, she back when they started back up and running in August, she had announced that she was going to take time away from wrestling, getting a hiatus. There was never really anything outside of just that announced by both her and Actress Girls. And then a couple of days ago, she put on Twitter that she, much like Julia on Twitter, said that she was leaving Ice Ribbon. She's like, I'm leaving Actress Girls, or she had left by September 3rd. But she did this all on social media. And the Actress Girls account said, no, we didn't approve of this. You still have dates coming. And apparently she's injured her elbow, but they've never listed her as injured. They've never announced her as injured. All we've gotten was that she had a hiatus, and that was it. She is injury prone, though. She's had quite a few injuries throughout her little short career, but it's definitely a very messy situation, though. Makes me worried, that's for sure.
Do you think a lot of these Actress Girls moves lately, because there's a big chunk of the roster, along with Diana, I'm noticing, where they're starting to spread out more and more. Do you think that perhaps Yumiko Hota and the moves Stardom's making, bolstering their roster, has much to do with this at all?
I don't think that's more of an indication, because they've always kind of done that. I think you can see that with Sari in Diana's case, where she was always moving around to other promotions. It's just how they get work. Mm-hmm. Actress Girls especially does it because they don't pay them a lot, so they usually get work elsewhere. But the more concerning thing is now Kakata announced she was leaving just a couple weeks ago.
Right.
And she leaves on the 5th, and then you get this situation with Rico. And it's starting to feel a little bit like a sinking ship at this point, at least with those two, right? Like, you can excuse the Sayori leaving and Himika leaving because there was at least reasons you could use to justify their departure outside of maybe Actress Girls doesn't have a lot of money. But that combined with their not booking a lot of shows, they booked 2 in September, whereas before they were booking like 3 to 4 a month. So it's definitely a little concerning, that's for sure.
All right, we'll definitely keep an eye on that. I know how much you like Actress Girls. I mean, they got a good, decent young roster. I mean, let's face it, with how spread out and thin the amount of talent is in the Joshi scene and women's wrestling in general in 2020, with so many snapped up in one company, that outside of Japan, I mean, we all know which one that is, and that maybe it wouldn't be the worst thing for some of these companies to just kind of fall to the wayside.
I've said that before. I think I said that going into this COVID stuff, but somewhere or another, I said that it was probably more beneficial to have less promotions. That way, there's more stronger promotions in the end of it, because we end up running into the same situation you had in the Dark Ages, where there's just too many promotions, and the difference there wasn't enough talent. Now there is too much talent, and it's almost like a weird kind of too many people are in too many places they can't be seen and are too good not to be where they are. So if Actress Girls does go, I hope a few of those people get picked up somewhere.
Yeah, top of my list is definitely Miyuki Takase. I would like to see her kind of sign full-time with someone like a Seedling, where she could get more of a main event type push instead of being this pin eater, essentially, for Max Voltage.
Right, Arte Hanma, even Miku Aino and Momo Kogo, who's like really young and up and coming too. I think some of those should be people that at least get signed somewhere. Or Yumi would make perfect in TJPW with her with Soy gimmick and everything. It just fits right at home in Tokyo Joshi. Yeah, I hope some of them get signed up for people if this does happen. And unfortunately, I don't think they're going to last too much longer.
Well, again, we'll keep our nose to the ground, so to say, and with that, I will play the, I guess, Hangman Page music here as we transition into my mom and I talking about AEW for the next hour. When we come back, we got the rest of the show for us, Kay?
Sweet.
Mother, we're back for more AEW.
Whoa! Giddy up! Giddy up!
Your man Hangman Page is on a singles run now.
Yeah, he is, and he's doing very well at it too. He seems to be on the road to recovery.
So let's just go over the statistics and the rundown before we get some thoughts here. As we do, this is the Red Leaf Retrocast. I am JD, and this is my mother.
Hey.
Yes.
Mother Donna.
She does not have a Twitter, despite all of the outcry for her to at least have 10 followers.
I don't know.
So,
I have to back off of Twitter for a while.
Oh, yeah, the not having it part?
Yeah, the not having it part.
What about an Instagram thirst trap, as Brody Lee would say?
Nah, don't want to do that either.
None of that?
No.
All right, so AEW Dynamite in-ring minutes the past couple weeks. Interesting statistics, I must say. So before...
Well, you have the sports season coming in, like football and all that stuff. So but they don't fall on Monday Night Football, and they don't fall on
Thursday night. No, they are not really being affected by sports all that much. The ratings are basically stay the same. So, okay, I'll start with the ratings then. Not much to say, actually. It's kind of exactly what I expected. AEW is now in direct competition with NXT again, and based on both shows being kind of off nights and moved around for the past month, 150 to 200,000 seems to be the crossover between the two. So, again, not as much as people think. But that's what the stats indicated with how much AEW went up, as well as NXT. It was about that number. So the past couple weeks, AEW went down to their 840,000 range, and NXT went down to their 660 range. More or less staying the same the past couple weeks, no change. And I think it's just further proof that WWE has put that show on to take viewers away from AEW to keep them from growing and hitting that 1 million mark, because they did indeed hit that. And then as for the in-ring minutes, the interesting stat lines I've taken was the shows we're covering here. The first week that we're covering, AEW had 62 minutes of in-ring wrestling, followed by this past week's 53. Now compare that to NXT, which had 57 and then 67 minutes of in-ring. And that's more of them ramping up the last few weeks above their 45-minute average, because they're doing long stipulation matches to make up for the fact they're not building anything. AEW is back to their average of about the 54-minute mark, coming after 3 straight weeks of being below the average of being about that 45-minute mark. And that was a big a big critique point we were making the past few weeks. It seems like AEW wasn't focusing enough on their in-ring, which is, I argue, their strongest point of what makes me want to continue watching the show. Keep the story in the ring, less talking. And WWE Raw was...
I should have listened to it this week. There was a lot of talking in the ring.
You think that, but it's 53. It is their general average, and we'll discuss that in a second. So hold that thought. WWE Raw for a couple weeks there, we're going about 60 minutes on average in ring, and then they followed that up with 36 minutes last Monday. So, so a 3-hour wrestling show with 36 minutes in ring, and that's not even including the commercials, because as we know, WWE loves putting commercials in the middle of their matches. Are you disgusted, or your ribs hurt?
No. I'm just glad I don't watch WWE.
Right, yeah.
It annoy the shit out of me.
Now, if you want to say AEW maybe is focusing too much on picture-in-picture lately, I totally agree. That was noticeable, at least in the last week. But we watch on Fight TV, so we don't get that. Just however you want to consume AEW. Lucky for us, yeah.
Yeah. And actually, I did notice that finally the commentators are recognizing that viewership, and they do continue talking finally instead of going mute.
Yeah, taking a short little break.
Yeah.
So it's funny you mentioned that, because you weren't the only one that thought that last week's AEW, and we're mentioning the September 23rd show, was it felt like there was a lot of talking. Well, the 9 o'clock hour to about the 9:30 hour was all talking. There was no in-ring. So there was a good 30-minute chunk of time where it was all promos. Was there, and that was kind of the only promos you saw on the entire show.
Though. I have a feeling I know why, though.
Why is that?
Well, I think that, number one, I got the impression that there really wasn't going to be much of a long match for the women, and I was right. And secondly, I had a feeling about the Moxley Kingston instead of the Moxley Archer, which ended up shortening that too, as far as an actual match in the ring, where of course, you know, the guys come out and do their thing against Moxley, and everyone's coming up because we're going to have Darby Allin against what's his butt?
Ricky Starks.
Yeah, him.
Yeah.
And all the guys that are going to be fighting or wrestling next week.
Well, one thing I noticed,
doing a little build for that.
One thing I noticed from the ring times and how long these matches are going, they're all kind of being equaled out. You have 10 to 13 minutes to get a match over start to finish. They're giving everybody kind of equal time in ring to try and impress. Okay. That's been the pattern lately. Including the women. They just kind of went home a little bit earlier there. 8:32, you know, that's a totally acceptable amount of time in ring. Especially from the quality we saw. That was quite rough. So let me just go over the matches here and anything from AEW Dark that stood out. So the first show we're discussing here is Dynamite on September 16th. FTR defeated Jurassic Express, in which we saw Jungle Boy get screwed over, but it was I think we agree, it was a very exciting match. Jungle Boy got everything over before he finally got screwed by the double...
The official cheaters.
Yeah, the official cheaters, boo. I mean, I really, really boo after they are dirty heels, and I'm finding them very enjoyable to hate. Adam Page defeats Frankie Kazarian, 1352. This is Adam Page's first big singles match coming off of the quote-unquote split between Kenny Omega and Adam Page. And we will talk about Kenny Omega on commentary here, because I find it quite intriguing. MJF defeats Sean Dean and then cuts a I might join or start a faction promo post-match, which sparks a little interest there. The Inner Circle team, this is your Chris Jericho, Jake Hager busting into the tag division. They have put everyone on notice. They beat Private Party, and this is seemingly setting up a feud between Jericho and more young guys. So that's quite exciting to see. Thunder Rosa defeats Ivelisse to retain the NWA Women's title in a match that was kind of a mess, and they worked a little snug. There's some conjecture if Ivelisse and Thunder Rosa got into a bit of a shoot there, but I doubt it.
Right.
And then the main event, which was a 5-star parking lot brawl fight between the Best Friends and Santana and Ortiz.
That match was an ouch match.
It was very much ouch. We spoke quite highly that we liked the goofy build to this, where it fit the characters. Seemingly since March of this year is how long it's been built up, and then they kind of reinvigorated it with Best Friends beating the Inner Circle duo just in a straight tag match, and then they got pissed, ruined Sue's van, totally demolished it. Then they poured bleach over the Best Friends' clothes, and they wanted to fight, and that led to this. So it was a very simple kind of middle card story that ended up main eventing. I did kind
of like the ending of that one, though.
It was pretty great, right?
Yeah.
I could picture you. I could picture you being in that position.
I'm in that driver's seat flipping them off. Yeah.
A great TV moment. It's definitely one of the most memorable things from AEW. And I don't know if you knew this, Mom. I didn't tell you this, so I'm wondering if you did know about it. There was Dynamite on a Tuesday night.
Oh.
It was an hour. It was... I found this quite enjoyable. It was just straight up...
I saw that on Fight. I meant to go back to that. I got sidetracked or something. I did see that.
I think you would like this show. It was 45 minutes of wrestling. Couple, short little after match promos deal. It was Scorpio Sky versus Ben Carter. Very good showing there. Anna Jay defeated Brandy Rhodes in coming off their little feud there after the Dark Order beat up the Rhodes family. And then Sean Spears defeated Matt Sydal. Remember the guy who slipped during the Casino Royale at All Out? Yeah. So they had a match. Just a straight good 45-minute wrestling.
Okay.
If this is what that second show is going to be, where it's not dark, where it's kind of a lot of indie guys getting showcased and they're against the AEW crew, if this is what it is, where it's more of the guys kind of not on dark, the in-ring is more of a higher level, and you get the guys you don't see on TV a lot, I would be so down to just sit down, watch 40 minutes of wrestling, and just have a nice simple time. I'd be very much down for that. And they could throw some stories in there if they so please.
Yeah.
AEW Dark, before I get to the September 23rd show, a very strong episode of Dark. There was some excellent wrestling, showing a lot of the indie guys from Buffalo in the New England area were on Dark. So I recognized basically all of them. Lee Johnson and Ben Carter had a phenomenal match. I think it was Lee Johnson. That was definitely one worth seeking out. Scorpio Sky is kind of the big takeaway between just from what's happening off Dynamite, and he keeps showcasing himself off that. Very cool stuff there. So I do recommend Kylan King had a good showing. I think she's still a woman with quite a lot of potential. Yes, she still has a long way to go, but that's just what I continue to see personally. Yeah. So definitely go check out that latest episode of
Okay,
Dark.
well,
It's an hour and a half. You can skip through a match. I'm not a fan of the Puff match personally. I see that enough at Beyond Wrestling when I go to those. So I did skip over that one.
I saw him, and I'm like, I know that guy.
Yeah, you do. September 23rd.
I recognize that guy.
Yes, September 23rd. Kip Sabian in the in-ring debut of Miro defeats Joey Janela and Sonny Kiss in a bad match. Adam Page defeats singles wrestler Evil Uno.
Loved it.
With Kenny Omega on commentary again. Again, we will get there.
Yep.
Brody Lee defeats Orange Cassidy to retain the TNT title, in which we saw the return after, some people are saying 5 weeks, it's 6 weeks in total, of Cody with his new all-black suit and hair.
It just so doesn't go with the tattoo.
Makes it stand out even more. It's really funny.
I think it should be blue. His hair should be red, white, and blue.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Hikaru Shida and Thunder Rosa, the champs,
go with the tattoo.
Team together to defeat Dean Monte and Ivelisse in another bad women's match. 8 minutes, 32 seconds. And then in the main event, Jon Moxley defeats Eddie Kingston to retain the AEW World title. This came about because Lance Archer tested positive for the coronavirus, so they had to scrap.
Incorrect. He did not test positive.
Yes, he did. He said so on Twitter himself.
Oh, so when I watched it, he was around people that had it,
which is still true. And then he later got tested,
and then he let her get tested and tested. Well,
the tweet came out.
It can always be a false positive too. I mean, you could take it 3 times and have different results. So
sure. Still, he was off the show, so that scrapped that anticipated trios match.
Which was really a bummer.
But we ended up getting a very good title match regardless, which I was very happy to see. It was just good, hard-hitting affair.
Well, and Eddie Kingston honestly should have had that available to him.
Sure, and anyways. No, this was making lemons out of lemonade, or lemonade out of lemons situation. Lemons out of lemonade. Reverse bioengineering there. Booking.
Everything happens for a reason.
Yeah, and then they had a big post-match brawl with like a lot of characters involved to just kind of keep the feuds fresh and set up next week. So I'm all for it. It was fine.
Yeah, it was all right.
So now, Mom, I ask you, what are your big positives the past couple weeks? What are your big negatives? What do you hope to see? What do you hope to?
My biggest positive is Omega on the sidelines, John about Adam Page, and him wanting to be a single guy. Well, guess what? So does Adam Page, and he's really. I really do get to finally enjoy Adam Page for what he is and what he does in the ring, and. I'm actually happy that he's no longer part of all that nonsense. That's my biggest positive. My biggest negative right now is there's something off these past couple of weeks. It just seems off to me. I'm not feeling the energy.
The crowds are very quiet. Absolutely, that's one part of it.
Well,
yeah.
Honestly, I think what's happened is that the people around the ring aren't letting their voices be heard, and they're trying to let the audience, and they're muted because of those stupid masks, and you can't hear anybody. So it's really losing the momentum that they had when you had the energy surrounding the ring. And I think it's just they're just lacking that energy, and I think they need to bring it back. I think there needs to be more energy around the ring because you can't hear anything outside the ring.
I don't disagree with that at all. I will elaborate on it though. I will take it a step further and say, I watch a lot of Japanese wrestling, which is still going on. It's really the environment is coming across to me kind of like those shows where they'll simply clap, or you might hear some people scream every now and again. So I'm not completely bothered by it, but I don't disagree with you either. The energy definitely is missing.
It is. It is. And it's been dropping for a while. And I want to say, ever since they started bringing audience back, and I love that they were bringing audience back, because when they first did, it was very, you really felt the energy. It was really uplifting and it was positive. And now all of a sudden it's the opposite, and they've gone completely mute. And the energy has really been fading, and it really showed this past week the lack of that. And
I do agree with that.
It's unfortunate. And they really need to get that back. They need to do something. They need to get these people around the ring, being the voice, because they don't have the masks on, and they need that. They need that voice. They need the voices. They need the rooting. They need the power behind the wrestlers in the ring. What else do you want to know?
I want to talk about Kenny Omega on commentary. So one of my big criticisms of AEW lately is we're missing the excitement. And it's not the crowd I'm talking about. I'm talking about making the television show an exciting environment. So a lot of the angles we're seeing are kind of running in place too long. And one thing we could definitely point to is the Omega Page storyline, and with FTR and the Young Bucks. That's the other storyline. There does come a point when things just take too long, and you're not hitting them at the right keys. Now, that being said, I'm okay with one storyline being long. It's very subtle, it's very drawn out, while other things you can focus on being in the moment. Okay, as I'm watching Kitty Cat about to jump on the mic table. Is he going to do it? Is he going to do it? What are you doing? Moving slow. What are you doing, Sid? Oh, here he comes.
I didn't have to open my trap today for the cats. They seem to be
Kitty.
quite happy.
Come on, make a decision. Come here.
Goldie is looking like a fat skunk. Oh my God, she's just ridiculous.
So, like I said, I'm okay with one story being slow and drawn out. That's fine. It's a different form of story. While this is okay, I'll speak of one good example. The main event with Moxley and Will Hobbs coming out because the story between Lance Archer getting and striking a deal with Team Taz, and they find common enemies in Moxley and the title, and then the deal, of course, is you give Cage the first title shot, right? And then Moxley's jumped from Ricky Starks, playing off the fan that kind of jumped him at All Out. That was kind of fun. I like that. And then you got Will Hobbs, a new signee, comes in, saves the day. The big dude with the chair, slamming around. Moxley puts him over. We're going to war. He screams at Darby Allin. I know you're watching. It all those are the sort of angles we need more of on Dynamite, and more frequently, not just once a month.
Right.
Because when we were watching Dynamite from, I want to say, after Full Gear till the coronavirus, they were hitting that stride where we'd see something exciting every show, and then that would be the thing we're talking about more and more. While, and then you could argue that the TNT title has its own focus on the show. That's your title you want for TV. And then you have your long story, which is the Young Bucks, Omega Page, and company. So everything's there. Like, the formula's there. What we're missing is just that one more thing on the show, which I say we had in the January, February months. And I have a feeling this is supposed to be Miro right now, but this is a big wet fart week after week with this guy.
I'm telling you, I'm not impressed. I call him Milo. He's just not, I don't know. There's just something lacking with him. It's just another Cage to me.
Another
That's
Brian
what
Cage.
Seems like.
Well,
Yeah.
no, because
That's what
Brian
it seems
Cage
like
has.
to me.
I will disagree with that because Brian Cage at least has Taz and Ricky Starks with them, and he can be the big bull, right? In Miro's case, he came into AEW and he wants to be someone completely different. I applaud that. I like that, and I do like that AEW isn't thrusting this guy into the main event as another dude that could be beaten by someone better than him, right? They've gone to that well multiple times now with Cage. They did it with Archer with the TNT title. They did it with Eddie Kingston to a degree. So them having Miro be his own dude and come in with someone like Kip Sabian, who was unfortunately off TV for a while. I really like Kip Sabian and his douchebag persona. And I do see the merit in making Miro and Kip Sabian these douchebag Twitch bros, right?
Yeah.
I don't have any problem with that. It's the execution of it, which is a total miss. Having Miro and Sabian do this tag match against Joey Janela and Sonny Kiss was a disaster. Why are you having Miro go 50-50 with these dudes? Like, he looks like a brick house, right? He should be killing these dudes. That's what they did right with Cage and Archer. So why is Miro not being this guy?
My thoughts on that whole match was it was staged, choreographed. I wasn't liking Sonny Kiss at all. It was a pretty lame match for a debut. It was just one of those.
I thought,
yeah.
So I don't know why I've latched onto this. So the previous week, we had Miro working out and Kip Sabian, being douchebag Twitch guy, right?
Yeah.
And then Miro puts all the weights down. He looks like $1 million with his huge muscles, pump it out, and he just puts it down. He goes, I want to devour somebody. Let me devour somebody. I really latched onto that word because I'm like, yes. You brought me back a little bit. If you're going to be the Twitch bros...
He could have devoured Joey Janela and Sonny Kiss at once. Boom, you're down.
Because I saw this match.
1, 2, 3 count on both of them.
Yes, so I saw this match on the card. It's starting out. We're getting his in-ring. He wants to devour somebody, right? There was no... okay, Kip Sabian starts out.
There was no devour.
That's the problem. There was no devour. You can be the douchebag Twitch bro and be a badass wrestler. Because you look like a badass wrestler, be the badass. That's what people want. I don't know a single person that wanted this side of Miro.
No.
Right?
Very, very poor competition. It wasn't.
Right.
It was no competition. And being just that, no competition, he should have just, boom, put them both down and devoured them. Boom, done.
Right. The way this should have happened.
But they made it last so long. It was freaking long and
they made it a 10-minute long match, and he even tweaked his ankle at some point, which was very worrying.
Well, I thought it was his knee, actually.
Either or.
Either way. They thought it was his ankle, and then it was his knee.
Yeah.
And
it absolutely
he came
fell
out
apart.
of it, game over, boom. Okay, well.
Yeah. So that's my big negative of AEW lately is the excitement level of their
Yeah, because that was the other thing that we were talking about early on was that that first match is a killer match. It kicks it off. It gets that momentum going. Boom, you're doing it. And that's what I was expecting. And I'm like, what the hell happened to this match? It's horrible.
Yeah, it absolutely fell apart.
Horrible.
So let's talk about something we absolutely enjoyed, and that is the parking lot brawl, Best Friends against Inner Circle. That match is one of my favorite tag matches of the year.
That was
I think
4
it's
stars for me.
Only 4. So why not?
No,
4.5 or 5?
Give 5s.
You have given 5s this year. I have examples.
I know, but the year's not out yet. The year's not over. I thought it was a really good match. I gave it 4. I also gave Hangman Page's for the this week a 3. For the second week that he's been a singles guy.
Okay.
But as always, but you know what? Come to think of it, this past week, nobody was bloody.
That's right. No Canadian destroyers the past 2 weeks either.
Yeah.
No Spanish flies, no nothing. They were very grounded. So I got to talk about this parking lot fight because we did mention it a little bit. Look, the feud was this is what needs to happen, and I did like the build. I mentioned this before, and it led to this main event on television, culminating in the good guys winning and putting over the mom flipping off in the van. That's what Dynamite needs more of, because when we went off the air, I adored that episode of Dynamite. That was everything I wanted. Got the excellent singles match between Page and Kazarian. It furthers his story of becoming a singles guy, while Omega is like, no, man, no, bro. I will get in the ring when I'm ready to, for me to move up the rankings when I see fit. Like, when it's advantageous to me. So Omega's being this kind of douchebag on commentary about it all, and Page is proving himself in the ring to be a singles guy and move up the rankings. This is using the rankings well into the advantage to what's going on. And it's also notable that Omega went, and they said this on commentary as well, Omega went to the rankings committee of AEW, the imaginary people that put this together, and say, no, we're not a tag team anymore. Just take us off. We're not going for it. There's no point in having us on there. And they're like, okay, if that's what you want, you can't get back on. You're going to have to work you guys up again. And that's what happened. So that really opened up the tag division to give you a visual on who your top six teams are. So I really like that. Thunder Rosa has injected some fuel into the women's division, yes, but the matches just haven't been good lately. It's just par for the course right now until they get their shit together.
I do think that the Ivelisse and Diamante versus Ishida,
Rosa.
I called her Deadly Rosa. It's Thunder Rosa.
Did you notice she had the Road Warriors animal face paint on? She had that spider thing going on. Because
nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
I know you were a big Road Warriors fan, Legion of Doom.
Yes. Out of the 2 weeks of the matches, I thought this was the better of the two.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I think it was a fair match for I think they're still rookies, even though they're not, the Ivelisse Diamante. But
they're certainly not rookies, but okay.
Well,
they sure seem like it, though.
Yes, that's my point. But Shida seems to be building some leg muscles. Her legs have really gotten big.
They're huge. They're so muscular.
Yeah, I mean, just by her throwing people around and doing more of that. You couldn't see who is that little shit that everyone liked. She was the first woman
Riho?
Wrestler champion. Yeah, Riho. See, I've forgotten about her.
My God. Put you in friendship timeout for that one. You can't even remember Riho. Where's that drop?
But that's my point about Riho not really being much of a wrestler, because she could never do what Shida does. So, but I did notice Shida's legs this past week, and they're getting huge. She's getting some muscles.
Yeah, good for her.
Yeah.
Brody Lee versus Orange Cassidy. I'm at a crossroads with thinking this match, because I did enjoy it. I thought the play of John Silver on the outside holding the TNT title and Brody Lee pushing him, and he's being a goofball on the outside.
What's up with that Brody Lee beating up on Silver?
Silver is the punching bag of the Dark Order.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I don't know. If that were me, I'd want to bite his leg or something. I mean, he's such a little shit.
That's kind of the point. He's the punching bag of the Dark Order. I really like everything going on with the Dark Order
you don't
right
think
now.
He's gonna get mad. You don't think Silver's gonna get mad?
No.
Bite,
This is
Brody Lee's ankle or something.
No, this is too gold material. John Silver at one time jumped in the middle of the ring to get in the way, and Orange Cassidy punches him. Orange Cassidy's comeback in this match was phenomenal. I loved it. Brody Lee does kill him and retains. What I'm asking you, because I'm still 50-50 on this, is did AEW kind of waste a big match here? Just kind of announcing it a week out. Sure, it was a week build and a week-long build, I should say. It was kind of a week build as well. But Orange Cassidy coming off of the big Chris Jericho wins, getting a TNT title match, I think totally makes sense. But it just came out of nowhere, seemingly, and then to just kind of have... I call it a throwaway match, because then the big angle was the whole match, and Orange Cassidy losing a big match is overshadowed by the Cody comeback.
Yep.
I think...
Because is Cody going to get the match? Is he going to get the TNT title back? You think that's what's going on?
Well, I think that's the story to be told here, absolutely.
Yeah.
What throws me off, though, is I think you could hold... I don't think Cody came back too soon at all. 5 to 6 weeks is plenty of time. I think the execution of this story was pretty weak. I think you could have announced a different match in this situation. Cody could come back, right? It doesn't have to be Orange Cassidy, right? I think you could have announced Brody Lee versus Orange Cassidy, maybe next week, right? He comes out, challenges Brody Lee, or the following week they shoot an angle with the Best Friends and the Dark Order or something, or Orange Cassidy and Brody Lee in general, kind of like how they started the Jericho Cassidy feud, where he just walks in front of a Brody Lee promo, right? Build the matchup better, and then you can build up to Cody Brody Lee in the same amount of time. Because even though, again, I did like the match, I do agree Orange Cassidy getting a TNT title match, but the execution of it and the story told, I think, was way rushed and didn't give us enough time to get hyped for it, and that was something else missing on the show. It should have felt like a bigger match than it was. Yeah.
Well, and then I like Brody Lee. He goes, "You're gonna wear this dog collar over that tacky tattoo." And I'm like, "Oh, well, that's."
Well, Brody Lee was uber pissed because I got the story being told here. It took all of the Dark Order interference, including John Silver getting in his way. He was embarrassed that Orange Cassidy took him to the limit and almost cost him the match and his title. And then on top of it, you have Cody comes back in his new all black gear, the new attitude, puts 5, aka career ender Alan Angels in the figure 4, quote unquote, snapping his leg in the figure 4, and Brody Lee is pissed. Goes to the back, Anna Jay pushes Dash out of the way, hands him the mic, and he cuts that dog collar promo. He's like, "Fuck, man, this motherfucker comes back, steals my spotlight, I retain the title, and he wants to come after me? No, I don't think so. You want to be the old school guy? Dog collar match, and your wife is putting Instagram thirst trap pictures on here. What kind of man does that? What kind of man has that neck tattoo? I'm going to rip it off. Dog collar match. Fuck. Like, it was great. I loved it. He's mad. He's pissed. The story all makes sense. Yeah, the story all makes sense in the world to me. So I got no problem with the stipulation. I got no problem with any of that. Now, I think the match is going to be on the anniversary show they're building up. Or it's on the Chris Jericho 30th anniversary show. I don't think they're going to hold off on this match all the way until November.
No. Yeah, because October 14th is just a few weeks away, and that's their anniversary, so.
Yeah, they're building up a couple big TV shows, which I'm really liking this move by AJW Dynamite. I've said this before, where in between the pay-per-views, their idea...
They're supposed to have, right, and on October 14th for the anniversary, isn't that the 6-man tag team with Moxley, Allen, and Hobbs against Archer, Cage, and Starks?
No, that's the Lance Archer Moxley match.
I thought there was a 6-man tag team for the anniversary. No,
I think they had to pull an audible because of the Lance Archer coronavirus thing.
Oh.
So I think they're. So we finally are getting Ricky Starks versus Darby Allin, a match I'm highly anticipated and very excited for. I think on the side we're going to get, say, Will Hobbs and Moxley against like Cage and Archer, perhaps something of that nature, or we'll get Moxley and Hobbs against Starks and Cage as we wait for Archer to come back. That's also a possibility. There's a number of different ways we can do this. So yeah, I had another thought, but I did lose it. So oh well. Oh, Omega on commentary.
Glad to help.
Yeah, Omega on commentary. Back to that. So yes.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah. Well, there is one more thing, and it involves FTR in the tag title situation, because we haven't hit on that, and that's kind of our last point.
Okay.
Is Omega on commentary being a douchebag. He is coming across like the jealous girlfriend that broke up with her boyfriend, but she doesn't want success with her ex. Right? She's like,
Yeah,
I've moved on, but you can't move on.
Hold on. I thought that he was doing the commentary to support Omega. I mean, to support Paige.
No, because if you listen to him, he's mocking him every step of the way. Meow.
Oh, jeez. Well, hold on. Can I hold on?
Doing it live. Go for it. So yeah, I didn't play the Dark Order drop now that I think about it, because we were talking about how much I like what they're doing with the Dark Order, Brody Lee.
Join the Dark Order.
He sits at the door and meows at it. It's like they know when I'm doing this.
I'm telling you, my cat knows too. Oh,
they know.
The microphone's hooked up. Time to mess with him.
That's exactly.
Yeah.
Usually, I don't know where Skylar is. Oh, there she woke up.
Yeah. So
because she heard a door open.
Yeah, Omega's mocking Paige on commentary. Like during the Kazarian match, which again quite loved. It was a G1 level type match. Paige is getting hit with big moves. How long was it? It wasn't that long.
It seemed long.
Just under 14 minutes, so not that long. Nice sweet spot for TV.
They were making me tired.
Where Kazarian hits him with a big move, and even though Paige kicks out, Omega kind of goes, you know, that would have been a moment I would have broken up the pin. So I guess Paige is just gonna have to figure out how to win this match without me. So it's these low key comments, and then the Evil Uno during the Evil Uno match, his commentary was even better. It was well, not only does Evil Uno have this jacket on for further protection from Paige's chops, it also hides his hideous physique. Great.
Oh, and did you see?
Oh my God, JR's comment at the beginning to Omega, because Omega comes out in shorts and a white t-shirt, and right. JR goes, "So glad of you to have dressed up for the occasion."
Right.
I love it.
So did you see there was something when Hangman Page was introduced, it was talking it had a disclaimer under Hangman Page's name. Apparently he's sticking with the long pants.
Yes. Mom, I think this is a big question people need to know. How do you feel about Hangman Page's rhinestone pants?
Giddy up. I'm all about fringe and the look at chaps.
Mom's a fan of the fringe and rhinestones. All right.
Yes.
Tassels and fringe is like the in thing on wrestling gear these days. My God. Yes. It's everywhere.
Well, I'll take the leather fringe, you know. Back in the day, that was big. I still have one of my fringe purses, as a matter of fact.
Oh, my. All right, our last...
It was really cool.
Yeah. So I think it's a matter of time before Page gets too many wins, and he's about to get into the rankings, or he gets into the rankings, and that's when Omega like jumps him, and he's gonna beat him to jump the rankings hard. I think that's the idea there. We're just he's biding his time. We're all just gonna have to be patient with it. And then the last.
Does Omega even have any singles rankings yet?
Yes, he has a lot, but he fell out because he wasn't doing singles matches. He was doing so many tag matches. So he does have a really good singles record if you watch it. If you look at it, it's one of the best. But he hasn't been in singles matches, so he fell out of the top 5
for over a year.
Well, no, he was in plenty of singles matches this year. It's just let's see his last one.
Not this year.
Yes, he has the Iron Man match against Pac. He's got quite a few
in January.
Yeah, that is in 2020, Mom.
Okay.
Yeah. Can't forget these things.
Forever.
Well, it was it's 9 months ago. So that's why he fell out. Fell out of the rankings.
I know.
But all it takes is a couple big wins and he's back up there because his record is there. Again, I really like the way AEW utilizes the rankings. It's not the end-all, be-all. They use it as a storyline purpose.
Yeah.
When they need to. The last point of comment is the FTR tag title kind of date with destiny or whatever they're calling it. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So Tully Blanchard comes out and cuts a horrible promo. And by horrible, I mean it was very kind of muddled and you didn't really get what he was getting at. But basically what he said is title matches are usually 60-minute time limit draws. Okay? So because they signed those special contracts, and they're the champions, they worked with the committee, I guess, and Tony Khan, that they will make basically all their matches title matches, but it's down to 20-minute time limits. Okay? And if it goes to a time limit, it still counts as a win to the champions. I mean, so this is an old school NWA stipulation that used to be in the day. Back in the day where they were on TV and there would be 20-minute time limits on their matches. So that's what they're doing. So it's the heels invoking a rule in their favor where it makes it harder to beat them. And I imagine one of these matches at some point is going to hit that time limit draw. They technically, quote unquote, beat their opponents, but they didn't beat them, if you get what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's a number of story things you could do with that, and they're set up for a match against SCU, the first ever tag champions of AEW, in a match next week. So I'm very much for this. A lot of people online are already saying it's going to go to a time limit draw. I disagree. You don't know that. I think because now this is going to, as soon as you hit like 15 minutes and they start announcing those times, as it ticks down and it keeps getting more and more, the heels are going to try to bide for time because they don't want to lose. And if it goes to a draw, right? So you begin to hate the heels more, and then you have the baby faces trying to win the match as fast as they can at that point, because then their backs are against the wall, and that could lead to mistakes and a number of things. There's a lot of story purposes you could do here. I like this move. What do you think?
I think you may be onto something, but I don't know.
Not feeling it?
No.
Not initially?
No.
Okay, that's fair. You don't have to feel everything at first.
No. I can discover it later.
Sure, absolutely. Young Bucks are being dicks. What do you think of them?
Yeah, I'm not sure what they're all about, other than they were mad at Omega. I don't know, because the Elite's no longer the Elite. Is that what the deal is?
Well, I mean, they can't get a hold of the tag titles, and now they're annoyed, and they're just being dicks. So they super kicked Marvez, the little backstage dude, and then they got fined and threw the money at Tony Khan. They kicked a referee at the start of a show and threw money at Tony Khan again, and then broke. I did like the Tony Schiavone thing a lot, where he knocks on the door and then when it opens, he flinches.
Right.
And then he keeps asking about FTR and the tag titles, and Matt Jackson gets super annoyed. He's like, oh, God, FTR again. Tony, show me your phone. Give me your phone. Takes the phone and smashes it against the wall. Gah! Then he tries to put money in his not pocket in the front. He's like, that's not a pocket.
Right.
And then he just throws it in the air. Whatever. There's your phone. And Shivani on commentary is like, hell yeah, I picked all that money up and go buy myself a better phone. And we all can sympathize with Shivani. He's like, dude, what a dick move that was, breaking your phone like that.
It was.
Yeah. I've been joking about it online anytime someone agrees with me. Just give me your phone. Let me see your phone for a second. No.
Oh, God. That would be funny. Well, so we're not going to see FTR and Young Bucks anytime soon in a match.
No, it's... the best... They did do a little...
That's be out for a while.
Yeah, they did do a little...
Maybe October 14th anniversary, where everything else is going to happen?
No, I think that's being set up for Best Friends. Because the Best Friends did come out after that FTR promo. They wanted the match, and FTR did the whole...
Oh, yeah,
did the
right.
whole, oh, yeah? Oh, yeah? It's on.
Yeah.
Wait. You guys are clearly injured and hurt. You know what? Rack up a couple wins, maybe heal, and then give Tully a call. We're out of here. And it's like, you dicks.
You know what? I'll bet you that poor Trent had some stitches on his back.
Well, he was bandaged up a lot in places, for sure.
Yeah, because he had I counted 3 pretty good sized bandages on his back. So I think he took a lot of glass.
Yeah. It seems like they're dialing back Orange Cassidy. Speaking of, this just kind of popped into my head.
Yeah.
He's coming off the big, like, this is my thinking of their thinking. Right? I'm trying to get into their heads and their train of thought.
Yeah.
Orange Cassidy's coming off the big win. They gave him a big title match. He lost, and now they're kind of dialing him back because his character's so reliant on crowds.
Right.
But they're gonna dial him back for a little while and put him back into that role that got him over in the first place. Yeah. So like in the parking lot brawl, he came out of the trunk and did the Superman punch with the chain. Like that's cool. If they use him more sparingly like that for the time being, I see that as I totally understand why they did what they did then. Right? Because then you don't want to overexpose him, and then he loses a lot of that star power that you worked so hard for him to gain. I do understand this move. Absolutely.
Right. Come to think of it, the after the Mimosa mayhem and all of that, the crowd these past couple of weeks have just been
pretty rough.
Yeah. I hope they start waking up.
Yeah, I hope so too.
Put me if it puts me asleep, I won't do this anymore.
Oh,
just forget about it.
Oh, come on.
I quit.
All right, Mom.
Wake me up when it's better.
All right, Mom. We have no idea who's the next challenger for Shida. We don't know what the plan is with Thunder Rosa now, since she's on a...
Well, Britt Baker comes back next week.
Britt Baker's coming back, so that's quite nice. We haven't seen Big Swole since her victory at All Out. So I don't know what they're doing with those two.
I can do without her totally.
Yeah, I'm not a big Swole fan either.
No.
We are getting Starks Darby Allin, which is very, very nice. SCU versus FTR, which should be a good tag team match, good solid affair. We'll see what they do next week. Very, very interested on where they're going and building towards their anniversary show. I'm very curious what they're going to do.
What's with the MJF Jericho thing? What was that all about?
Well,
I like you.
Why'd you call me a loser? What do you mean? Well, I watched Dynamite. Well, I was on Twitter. I saw what you did. No. I was talking about that limo driver. He was out of control. Oh yeah, you're right. Well, I was talking about Shivani. He's an idiot. You're right. He is. You know what? You're all right, man. Eventually, they're gonna do Jericho MJF. I like their interactions.
Yeah. You think so?
Yeah, and I mean it's hinting that MJF and might join the inner circle, but maybe not. You know, MJF's part of that wolf pack, right? Nice WCW line there.
Ooh.
Yeah. A lot of references in AEW. There are.
Well, hello.
All right, Mom, we're approaching that hour mark. I think it's time we take this home. Your match of the 2 weeks? Anything besides
my match of the 2 weeks was, of course, the parking lot fight.
All right, so that was your 4-star match. And your wrestler of the 2 weeks?
My Hangman Page.
Hangman Page and his big winnings.
Well,
so,
you know, absolutely. And he's changed his outfit, looking good.
Not bad. So,
and
Mom,
my number one asshole of the past 2 weeks, Cody's the winner.
Number one
He's
asshole.
got that ugly Ken doll hair gone black. He does. He just. I'm sorry, but it just doesn't work with his skin color.
So that
too dark.
So that makes Hangman Page your number one wrestler of the year so far. At you've made him your wrestler of the 2 weeks 4 times now.
Yes. Yep, he's my guy.
Yeah. There you go.
I'm enjoying him.
Well, Mom, that was another 2 weeks of AEW Dynamite in the books. We'll see you next time.
Enjoyed it. Yep.
Get ready.
All right, Kay. I would be mistaken if I wouldn't plug all of the podcasts before we go into DDT here. You just came out with a new episode about Momo Watanabe. Did you not?
Yes, today I did. Yes, the Big Egg Joshi Podcast. Before I was doing promotions, so I think like my first 14 or so episodes are just different promotions, sort of giving you a rundown of each of them. And now I've transitioned, since I've sort of ran out of promotions to cover, or at least one's worth covering. I've transitioned into wrestlers, and the first one is on my favorite wrestler, Momo Watanabe.
There you go. So Big Egg Joshi Podcast, definitely check that out. Follow him on Twitter. Easy enough to find, especially if you're a listener of this podcast. Go help him out there. And if you're a listener of this podcast, be sure to subscribe on your podcasting outlets and leave us a nice little iTunes review. We had about 40 of them at one point in time, but then with the transition over to Anchor, we kind of lost all those. So help us out. Give us a 4 or 5 star review. I don't really care which one.
5-star. We're in the Tokyo Dome, bro.
Okay, all right. Yeah, we cover a lot of Japanese wrestling, so.
Right.
DDT. Who's Gonna Top? Which took place at Korakuen Hall on September 27th. Because as you know, we are a bi-weekly podcast here, Red Leaf Retrocast, for all of our shows.
Yes.
And skipping that whole undercard situation, not really ever, to me, it's never worth going into in heavy detail at all. It's filled with the comedy that you know DDT by. But the main talking points here is what happened in the second half of the show. Nautilus, the tag team champions, defeated the Brits, Chris Brooks and Drew Parker. Match only went 11 minutes, and it was a fast-paced banger. It was quite fun.
Started with table spots. Didn't even, before the bell rang, just putting them through tables.
Yeah, so before the bell rings, Drew Parker just flies through the ropes, takes these dudes out. They set up tables, those hard-ass Japanese tables. Chris Brooks gave Yuki Ueno a freaking razor's edge, an outsider's edge, through a table on the outside. That was nonsense.
Oh, it was nuts.
Crashed and burned. I liked commentary going, Chris Brooks is 2 meters tall, and then that's followed up with Yuki Ueno giving him a full-end drop kick to the head. That was crazy to see. The dude's got leaps, man.
Oh yeah, definitely. That's quite the hang time there too.
Yeah. So it was just a nice full. It was like a tornado tag from start to finish. They finally get the ring. They go through all the motions, just tag team maneuvers left and right, and Yoshimura actually pins Chris Brooks, and that sets up a Universal title match in which the owner, GM guy, says the TV show is coming back, which I'm extremely excited for. So we could see DDT go on a run here of catching up with AEW in our little Ocean War we got going on here. That starts October 10th. I believe that's the first show that's going to come back, and that'll build towards Ultimate Party, their biggest show to finish out the year. So yeah, Yoshimura versus Chris Brooks, and then that's immediately followed with Yuki Ueno calling out Sakaguchi and Eruption, the Trios champions, and they want to challenge. They do have a third member that they're going for. Funny little back and forth. You can see the commentary over at the DDT Pro English translation account on Twitter. That's if you want to keep up with DDT and you want to keep up with more of the stories going on, that's a big recommendation for me. It's definitely a lot of fun. And it's decided that the 2 matches will happen back-to-back at the October 25th Korakuen show as the semi-main and main event, which is the tag titles will be first, with Ueno and Yoshimura defending against the Higuchi-Sakaguchi tag team. Very excited for that one.
Oh, definitely.
And then that'll follow with the main event, in which Hirata will be the third member of Nautilus here, and then, of course, the Trios champions of Eruption with Saki Akai. So that builds up a big main event with 2 titles back-to-back. That's very intriguing, definitely something unique. I'm very interested. And then they also announced Mao is returning to in-ring action, someone you've never seen before. He's a big flippy dude. He's fun to watch. He's coming back against to be in a singles match against Shunma Katsumata. I believe that's at Ultimate Party as well. So pretty cool. Ultimate Party's getting together to be a banger of a show, no doubt.
When's the Ultimate Party happen? Do you know? November. Ooh, so after the big TJPW Tokyo Dome City show. So they probably might have a big match there too for that.
Maybe.
They did it last year.
Yes. Also on this DDT show, we had Junretsu versus All Out. They're continuing their rivalry, especially with Konosuke Takeshita and Jun Akiyama doing their thing. It was translated as a tug of war, so I really thought, knowing DDT, it was going to be the guys in an actual tug of war. We were wrong. It turns out to be a series match where 3 members of each team were in a singles match and just competing for points to be just get one up on each other, basically. And it turned out to be 3 matches in interesting fashion. I like the story that was told here. Takeshita struggling against the young Junretsu member. What's his face? Not Watase, the other guy. Let me get his name. Bear with me.
Well, while you do that, I'll just say
no,
that I was very disappointed.
I got it. It's Oishi.
Oh.
Oishi. So Takeshita, it took 10 minutes for Takeshita to defeat this scrub. So that goes into the story of you're hanging out and training with Akiyama. They're slowly getting better, and you can definitely tell they're slowly getting more and more toned and fit, which is cool to see. My favorite was easily the Akiyama versus Akito matchup.
Oh, yeah, that was so much fun. Just kicking the crap out of each other.
So very unexpected. So Akito is coming off of beating Endo one-on-one in the King of DDT tournament, but then losing to T-Hawk. So what happens here is, right as the bell rings, Akito attacks the left knee of Akiyama. And then little does he know that Akiyama has another knee, and it's better. It's called his right one. And he gets kneed the shit out of with Akiyama's main rising knee finisher, and he gets beaten in like 2 minutes. He taps out to the he just passes out to the guillotine.
Yeah, he passed out.
Really cool 2-minute match. It's like my favorite kind of squash match of the year.
It was definitely a lot of fun, that's for sure.
Very unexpected considering how both guys have been booked so far.
Right.
And then we had Watase versus Shunma, which turned out to be just a fun little 5-minute back and forth between the two least members of both teams.
Right. Well, before we finish up with that, I like to say I was very disappointed there wasn't an actual tug of war match. I was expecting shenanigans in my DDT. I got good wrestling, but I was very disappointed that the shenanigans weren't there.
Yeah. So then we got our main event, which was an 8-man tag. It's Damnation with the Strong Hearts. So that's Sasaki and Endo, the opponents for the next KOD title match. Because as we remember, Endo, for winning King of DDT, could announce his next challenger, and he picked stablemate Sasaki. They're against the team of Eruption, that's Sakaguchi and Higuchi, teaming up with Hirashima and giant jobber young guy Yukio Naya, whom has a really funny rivalry going on with El Lindemann lately. Whenever they match up, it's quite funny. Lindeman's like the
It was very
smallest
funny.
strong guy ever, and then Yuki Onaya's the most clumsiest big dude, but they like complement each other. Really, it's funny. Match
It is
goes
very
16,
funny.
yeah, match goes 16 and a half minutes. What did you think?
Was very good. I think the ending sequence alone was worth talking about. You know, the pedigree. I'm sorry, the Canadian Destroyer, then the pedigree, then the 450. Was it then the crossface?
I have them all written down because it was like someone watched the late 90s, early 2000s WWF and went, we're gonna hit every finisher ever in a row.
No, they just hit the finisher button constantly. Like I think I got the biggest pop out of the Canadian Destroyer because I don't think I've ever seen that in any Japanese matches I've watched so far. So that was crazy. Was it Endo busting that out?
So what happened was it was a triple power bomb on Yuki Onaya. This all happened on Naya, the biggest dude in the match, which was funny.
Yes,
so they
very
do.
much.
So Damnation and Strong Hearts do a triple power bomb, and then you have El Lindemann, who was off to the side because he's so short.
I forgot about that.
And he provided emotional support.
Yes, he was like, "Yes, guys, you could do it."
So then it went like this: Endo hits a Canadian Destroyer. Lindemann hits a tope flip to the outside to take out the rest of the team. Then Sasaki hits a super kick and a pedigree. Endo comes off springboard 450. Sasaki hits a Macho Man elbow drop and then finishes off with a crippler crossface to win it.
I forgot like half those moves that happened because it was like, "Holy shit, Canadian Destroyer! Holy shit, pedigree!"
It's the first Canadian Destroyer I think we've seen in 2 weeks minimum.
Definitely, especially because AEW hasn't been having any lately.
It's
To my
very
disappointment.
Yeah, there was even we did see a few Spanish flies last. I think we saw a couple just today alone.
Oh yeah, definitely. But it was the Canadian Destroyer, man, gets a pop out of me every time. It's my favorite transition move.
Every time. So Damnation picks up the win, and then this is when they're supposed to set up the title match. Cut promos on each other. And what ended up happening was very interesting and fun, which really piqued my interest into the match going over, because there's a lot of DDT fans that have seen Sasaki go for the title so many times prior, and Endo's involved. He's always at the top, so they're kind of sick of it. Well, to me, this definitely brought my interest to a new high. So what happens is Sasaki talks some shit, Endo talks some shit, and he goes, "I'm sick about your story, about your condition and being, 15 years old and all this into the industry." Sasaki then low blows Endo. He grabs the mic and says, "Shut up. I've had one I got this all from the DDT Twitter in front of me. Shut up, I've had one thing on my mind ever since you named me challenger. I'm kicking you out of Damnation." And then he cues, "Guys, get him!" The crowd laughs because the Damnation members just look at him like, "What?" So that was great. Damnation decides no. They jump Sasaki and beat him. They put the boots to him, and Endo gets the mic and he goes, "No, Sasaki. I've had one thing on my mind too ever since I named you challenger. I was going to kick you out of Damnation. You are no longer needed in the group, and you're wondering what's going on here now? I told you I can read you like a book. We will go on without you. Listen up, we are Damnation. We don't conform, we don't kiss ass, and we don't need a washed up man. Remember that." And then they went to backstage, and I got the comments, and this was great. It was Damnation having the time of their lives because they kicked out this old loser from their group. Endo, "Wow, that felt good. Felt amazing. Annihilation we did." Endo, "All that pent-up anger against Sasaki, I don't give a shit about surpassing you, Sasaki, anymore. I'm just going to end your career at Ultimate Party. Paulie, you know what I mean?" And he just goes, "Ah." Endo, he goes, "Are you crying?" He's, "No, Lindemann kicks in. He has the great, let's kick Endo out." Endo said, "Let's kick Sasaki out." We chose Endo. Simple as that. Paulie goes, "Ah," and then Linda goes, "Yeah, you heard him." Linda then goes, no, T-Hawk says, "Well, we removed him from the group." Linda goes, we're gonna block him on Twitter. Unfollow him even. He never texts us anyways. So yeah, it's great. Good little backstage comments. It was utterly fantastic. I love this angle. I love the match setup. They kicked a dude out of the heel group that gives us more teeth to sink into the match. I'm very excited for what's happening in DDT right now. It's simple. It gets us all pumped up as we head into the TV show that'll build further to their big show of the year. I'm excited, Kay.
I'm very excited too, especially because I didn't even get to catch the TV show prior, so it's my first catching of it, and the whole turning on him, and I guess he is a comedy jobber after all, right?
Well, not a jobber per se, but he's coming across as kind of a burnout,
a loser,
burnout lately, and they got rid of him.
I guess so. I guess my first analysis of him being the leader was wrong. My second one must have been correct. Him being a loser.
Well, he was kind of. My understanding is he founded the group Damnation in the first place, but over time it's been Endo's group because he's the top dog, right?
Yeah, he's look at him. Look at those abs. Would he not be the leader of your group? He's the leader of my group.
Oh, he's the leader of everyone's group. I mean, Lindemann looks like he toned down. His thick boy, awesome, sexy thighs aren't as thick anymore, with 2 C's, by the way. But we still have Endo's sexy lucha abs to wash our clothes off of. So that's DDT. Didn't mention this on the last podcast, but I won't forget this time. With this DDT show, does it get us more hyped than what we've seen the last couple weeks with AEW?
Well, I mean, personally, me a little bit, just because the one story I'm more invested in AEW is taking a little too long to get going, that being the Hangman and Omega stuff.
All right.
That much has gotten me.
Point to DDT it is. It's enough for me.
It's enough for you. That's good, I guess.
Yeah, so that brings AEW 11, DDT 7 on the year. They're catching up.
It's good.
Very unexpected, because I was about to give AEW an easy point here, but that angle to finish off the show was great.
Right, it definitely got me more interested. That's for sure.
All right, with that, I will play of course, Maya music, because we got the Joshi War coming. We got an Ice Ribbon show to talk about.
Yes.
I would say it might be time to get a new Ice Ribbon drop, but went so long without a Maya drop. I can't help myself. I got to play it every time, Kay.
You should get yourself a Suzu drop. I hear she's quite good.
It is some badass music. So, Ribbon Nights.
Yes, the Big Korakuen show.
Big Korakuen Hall show. I don't have the attendance in front of me. I think they drew like 480 or something.
It was 446.
There you go. A little lower than I thought.
Just a little bit.
So before we talk the matches, I'll just kind of go through the results here and what setups there were, and then we can give our thoughts. Sound good?
Sound good.
All right, so there was a trios match of the Frank Sisters versus Rebel Enemy. Frank Sisters defeat them. Mochi pins Micah, and then talks a lot of shit to Rebel Enemy, seemingly setting up possible Maya tag title challenge, or sets up a Mochi confidence run, is what I'm calling it, because it's still a little unknown of what direction they're truly going with Mochi Miyagi here.
I think that latter one might be more likely.
Maybe. Risa Sera defeats Shuri in the no rope lumberjack match. We got a funny little video pre-match where it shows both of them trying to recruit people to be their lumberjacks.
It was quite funny.
That was really funny. Didn't understand a word of it, but we got the context of it nonetheless. Sarah recruited Rebel Enemy, as Shuri, of course, had joint army. No surprise there. Post-match, Rebel Enemy wants a title shot for helping, and noticeable Maya took a long, hard look at that nice little Fantastice title.
Ooh, shiny belt I haven't had before.
Yes, exactly. That looks good on you. Might look good on me too. And then 16 minutes, 34 seconds, Suzu Suzuki defeated Sakushi in the main event in a very snug match with some Lucha Libre. Post-match, Suzu calls out Sarah to challenge for the tag titles against Mochi and Hiragi Kurumi. Interesting enough.
That'll be on the next show too, the 10-3 show.
Yeah, very interesting. So whether this sets up a we'll talk about what happened with Mochi Miyagi after the in the next 2 shows here. But let's talk about our takeaways here, what we thought of the matches. I thought the trios match was good. The Sarah Shuri match was filled with shenanigans, so it put a smile on my face at the very least. And then I'll save my thoughts over Suzu Shikushi. Kay, what did you think of the show and the matches?
So I agree with the Rebel Enemy match. That match was very, very fun. I did not expect Mochi to win, but Micah showing some heel fire to her has definitely got me hopeful. She just needs a gear change. That's what she needs next. The Shuri match, the Shuri Risa Sarah match was very, very good, very fun. The suitcase spot was hilarious. And then the air raid crash onto the outside for the victory was looked very painful, that's for sure. And then Shuri at the end with her emotional farewell to Ice Ribbon, sort of announcing her departure from there, which was a bit heartwarming, a bit sad too at the same time.
Yeah, tears in her eyes and everything. She was very sad.
Definitely.
She was very sad to leave, but I think it's safe to say she's probably signing full time with Stardom exclusive deal.
So. I'd imagine that's probably what this is leading to.
Yeah. Which at least brings us a little bit more interest in the upcoming Shuri Mayu Iwatani title match.
Sure, I guess.
I mean, we don't expect Shuri to win per se, but it just makes a small percentage higher that she could win. Sure.
I'll give you that much. And I guess we're talking about the Suzu Shikushi one, right?
Yes.
Okay. I love this match. I mean, I'm already a big Shikushi fan as it is, and Suzu's probably my second there. So those two going at it was pretty fun. Like you said, snug. She slid the outside and hit the German on the second rope, was it?
Yep.
That was crazy. It's another new move for Suzu to add to her belt of other moves.
Yeah, I've seen Ibushi do the move a few times in the past. So that's where I've seen this before, but I've never seen a woman do it before. So this was the first.
It looked very cool. I think at the end of this, she'll probably have more moves, forget more moves than any other wrestler might learn, because she has just so many that she just busts out. The ending sequence was probably one of my favorite things, just the constant kickouts. Definitely the roll up after the Harikaze was what got me when I first watched it. And then obviously the finish there with the suplex, the Germans, the 3 Germans was good. I put it up there with the Maya Suzu match. I know you disagree on that, but those two at least, I had to rewatch the Maya Suzu match to firmly think which one's better, but I definitely put it up there for me, at least on the same level. Was very, very good.
Well, if I'm looking at my little notebook here of my top Ice Ribbon matches of the year, I still rank this match very high. I do think highly of it. I loved how fit and in shape and cardio Shikushi came into this match. She looked strong. Even mention that. She looked very strong. She looked very in shape. Like you could just tell the muscles were very visible, right? She was on definitely. I think Shikushi was the A player in this one. Suzu's, she's only 18. She's in her second year. Still makes some mistakes here or there. That's all well and good. But the level that she's able to bring to the matches at such a young age is very impressive.
Oh, it's crazy.
There's only a couple guys in maybe Dragon Gate I can say that about at this point in time. But Shikushi was definitely the main player here. The way she hit every single one of her moves, the way she brings Lucha Libre into this Joshi stiff style. She clearly did not hold back. My spot of the match was definitely when she just reared back and did a full-on like Street Fighter punch to Suzu, and then held it there for a second. You just see her muscles just very visible after that. Like, yeah,
it was crazy. That was so crazy.
It was good, and I think she accidentally hit her for real, because we saw post match as the promos were happening. Suzu's left side of her eye was kind of swelling up a bit. So I think she got her.
I think she actually did hit her. Yes, whether that was intentional or not, I'm willing to bet that was probably done intentionally to add to the intensity, given how snug the entire match was.
Yes, it was either we're gonna hit our lucha moves and then transition into this strong style of just straight forearms. It was a very different match than the Maya match. It's very It was very different than the Maya Hiragi Kurumi match that I still love. I still think a lot of people are sleeping on that one.
Oh, it's good. I don't see one. That's a very good match.
So yes, this Sakushi match is definitely worth seeking out. I'm now wondering where Sakushi goes from here, because there's a number of different directions they can go. And I really like this angle that they're pushing Mochi Miyagi, because I think she's one of the most improved wrestlers of 2020. And her getting to highlight and cut the promos while Kurumi kind of takes a step back. And we know the history and story that they're trying to tell with Sakushi and Kurumi. So this direction they're going with kind of 4 people, so to say, with the new champion, the tag champions, and then Sakushi hanging out in the background trying to pick her spot. I really like all this. It's pushing more new talent into the spotlight and having people like your Maya and Tsukasa, just proven stars now, take a back seat and let people take the spotlight and build their credibility up. I like this. Mochi Miyagi is definitely pulling at my heartstrings. She's really creeping up there on my top favorite Joshi list, and it's nice to see someone new and improving the way she has get this sort of top level spot in a company.
That's totally been the story of Ice Ribbon this year. The pushing of the newer faces, you see it with a ton of them. Even the ones outside of what you just mentioned, right? Seeing with Ibuki Hoshi getting sort of a bit of a push. Talk about her match with Aja Kong, or tag with Aja Kong.
Coming out of the undercard, and you're just seeing her slowly rise. I mean, that's why we watch wrestling promotions. It's what gets us to sink our teeth into the upward movement of talent.
Oh, definitely. I think she's in line for a big 2021, that's for sure. Especially if she sticks with wrestling, which I think she might, given her mom being there too. You know, the ham.
Yeah. Seeing Yappy and the ham team up quite a bit and change costumes quite a lot.
Oh, it's fun though. It's a fun tag team.
I'm worried about this virus that's clearly infecting Yappy's good judgment with the ham.
Hey, listen. The ham could only do good by her. Listen, she has a belt, She's a champion.
No, I have no memory of this. Peas Party 55. Rina Shingaki defeats Madeline. It is really... Rina Shingaki is really getting a spotlight in Ice Ribbon more and more, the 2AW wrestler.
Oh, yeah, she's getting that in Seam Seedling, too. She's shown up quite a few times there and gotten a bit of a spotlight.
Yeah, so it's really nice to see her more. Madeline seems to be breaking out for... I guess she's stepping away from MMA and focusing on wrestling now going forward. It seems like she's... stepping out of Diana more and more as time has continued here through the summer and heading into the fall here.
Yeah, I've noticed that Diana's let her go out more. I think there's like a time that they let you before they let you go out more, because it's the same with Haruka Umasaki. I think she's been there for 2 years almost now, something like that, a year or 2 years, and she's just now being able to venture out a lot more. I think I'm seeing a lot more of her than I had prior to this. So maybe this is a tactical move, get them more work. I definitely want Madeline. I'd love seeing more Madeline. Madeline's the best. She's just great. Everything she does is funny and great.
Perfect fit for Ice Ribbon. I hope to see her. I hope to see her out of Peace Party and shows up on the bigger shows. Maybe
She
get a
very
little
well
push.
might.
Yeah, I think with her character and it's a perfect fit. The whole charisma factor and the fact I think she's pretty good in the ring. Suzu and Yuko Sakurai from Actress Girls teamed up and faced whom you just mentioned from Diana, Haruka Umasaki, teamed up with Sakushi. Good little match. And then the September 26th Dojo show, 1072, we saw Maya take on Haruka again. Nice little, essentially rookie versus the ace match.
Yeah, Haruka looked pretty good in that match too. I think Maya gave her quite a lot to work with.
Yeah, you can't get better if you don't work, right?
Right.
Yeah. And then the one big takeaway here is Mochi teaming up with Suka, defeating Suzu and Sarah team as Mochi pins Suzu. So this is where we think the confidence run is coming. Will Mochi get more than a tag title shot? I think so. I think she will.
Too. I think she's the next challenger, and I think the story, at least from what I'm taking away from it, being told with Suzu, is out of her first win, she's getting a little overconfident. I mean, she won, and her very first words aren't talking to Sakushi; they're challenging for the tag belts. So, I think there's very much a story to be told there, with sort of like the young up and comer kind of getting a little full of herself, feeling herself a little bit because she just had her first title defense. So I can see that being what they're doing here. I think given that she pinned Suzu, I do think that they're winning the tag belts. You can also spin that into the Sakushi story too. Sakushi
Sure.
and Ibuki Hoshi being a team together. So I can see that happening. Or you can even see Kurumi and Sakushi team back up at some point. They could tell that story. So it's I think there's much more you can do with the tag belts on Suzu than you can on Mochi and Kurumi right now.
Yeah, they're heating up Mochi Miyagi at the right time. She's been built up well this year. She's improvement this year. She's being built up and heated up at the right time to be that next challenger. And Suzu, I think she should beat Mochi, no doubt. As much as I love Mochi Miyagi,
that's definitely what's gonna happen. Yeah, it's definitely what's gonna happen.
But it's definitely a good defense and makes for an interesting main event nonetheless.
Right, and Mochi gets a nice rub off of it too. I don't think she's had a title challenge in quite some time.
Yeah, I can't even remember the last one actually.
I don't think she challenged Maya in her entire run, at least not that I can recall. Maybe the run before that, the Tsukasa run, she might have.
No, because she tore her Achilles. That took her out for like 10 months.
Yeah, it did. And Kurumi got hurt too not so long after that.
Yeah.
I remember that too. That was kind of a 1-2 right there.
Well, all right. That does it for Ice Ribbon. Simple and short.
Yep.
Whom should I play for Stardom?
Yeah, I'll play Mayu.
You know what? I think I will.
Right on, I guess.
The 5-star Grand Prix has finally come to an end. We talked on the previous episode all the way up until Fukuoka Day. So in this episode, we are focusing on Fukuoka Night, which happened on September 12th, Fukuoka on September 13th, and then the Korakuen show on September 19th, the 5-star finals. Everything's out. Everything's available on VOD. What'd you think, Kay?
So this is the one with the Micah Utami main event, yes? The night show?
Yes.
Because this was after the Utami one, right? Utami Momo?
Correct.
Okay. So that match was very, very good.
The Utami Momo match was on Fukuoka Night on September 12th.
Okay. Oh, so that's what we're talking about right now then, because we're on the night show. So
yes, we have not talked about the 20-minute draw between Momo and Utami.
Oh, I love this match. This has probably been my favorite Stardom match. It's sort of giving me the same thing the Momo Kiona second white belt match did, where I just have this want to rewatch it multiple times. Momo with their hair back, looking like Murder Momo. I missed my Murder Queen. And seeing her and Utami go at it, and especially given the fact that Momo had control of most of the match, which was kind of a shocker. You had Utami kind of playing from behind for most of it. And then at the end there, when she was doing the torture act, Momo had Utami up in her own finisher move, which was quite crazy to see that. I think they're building Momo up, and then as we see later on with Utami, they're obviously building her up, right? So I think they're definitely building Queen's Quest up to kind of meet DDM in terms of the groups in general.
Sure.
They seem to also be focusing a lot on the youth of Queen's Quest. They keep mentioning that, which I think is important.
So just to reiterate, so we're not confusing anyone, the Fukuoka Night Show was indeed headlined by Momo versus Utami, which went to a 20-minute time limit draw. The Fukuoka show the next day was headlined by Micah versus Utami. That also featured the Tam Julia match that went 10 minutes. And then the Korakuen Hall finals, of course, was the final match, Utami versus Himika in the finals, seeing Utami go to a 20-minute draw. Just the match prior versus Shuri, which won her the block with that draw. I also saw Shuri wrestle twice on the same show. And Himika wrestled twice on the same show herself, defeating Konami in 10 minutes. I'll talk about that match in a little bit. So Himika the story was they're both exhausted. Himika had her arm worked, but so did Utami, but she had more to overcome being in the match just prior.
Right. We can talk about the Tam Julia match.
Yes, so what we've both done here, instead of breaking down match by match by match and all that kind of stuff, Just want to get our thoughts on the booking. Who do you think came out looking the strongest of it all? They have their awards here, so I can definitely go through that right here. Winner is obviously Utami. The runner-up is Himika. They gave outstanding performance to Konami, whom I thought was the MVP of the first half of the 5-star.
I would agree there.
They gave best technique to Azumi, fighting spirit to Maika. Then this year they gave best match for each block. Red Stars was Julia Tam from September 13th. And then they gave the best match of the Blue Stars to the Utami Shuri 20-minute draw at Korakuen Hall. I can't say I disagree with really any of these. Obviously, I gravitated... the only one I personally would disagree with is the best match of the Blue Stars, and I think I would switch, actually, outstanding performance to Azumi and technique to Konami. That's just my personal take of that. And then... we both have written down our top 5 matches of the 5-star with an honorable mention.
Right. I would agree with that assessment too. I think Azumi. Well, I think they wanted to give it to her 2 years in a row because she got the same thing last year.
Sure.
So, we going on our 5-star list, right? Or do you want to?
Well, I do want to mention that specifically that Konami versus Himika match because
it was very good.
I had predicted that Konami was going to get to the finals and lose. And it looked very much like that's what they were doing doing again, just to tell kind of a Konami always makes it to the finals type story, but can't win the big one. I know you can. I'm kind of glad they didn't go through with that because there's only so many times you can have someone lose a big match before they start coming across like Junko Kiyono.
Right. You don't want to do that with Konami because I think they might. At least I think they have plans for Konami. At least it seems like that all the time, right?
Maybe, but they did something you just don't see in the modern era, and that's so Himika hits her powerbomb, right? The ref counts 3, and like a second after the 3 count, you see Konami violently kick out, like she had just woken up for a second, and then she hits the ropes like, oh, I didn't break 3. So she still had her fighting spirit with her, and she still comes out looking strong because it seems like because she controlled the match like 95% of the time, working the arm and coming off, but the power of Himika was just too much for that split moment, and it was just enough to keep Konami down. It's a very old school type finish there, and I absolutely loved it. I kind of wish you would see more, not the same finish per se in wrestling today, but these old school tactics. You know, this is what I like about Stardom is they utilize draws well. They utilize them seemingly when it works into a story. Like in both cases in the 5-star here, when we had 2 members of the same faction going against each other, we saw a big character shift in him. You mentioned the Murder Momo coming out. She pulled that ponytail back, and she was all business, right? She knows her stablemate is no joke. She took it even more serious than usual. She hasn't had the best 5-star showing that she'd obviously like, but she would be damned if her own stablemate was going to beat her, right? So we saw that much different side. We saw the same thing happen with the Himika, not Himika. No, yes. Himika Saitani match, where they're not in the same stable, but they're, the both up-and-coming rookies.
Right. I think that was also that's the one that went to a draw, right? That one is a little different. It was a lot slower in the beginning, and I don't think it really worked as well as the Momo Utami one. But I get what you're going for in terms of the booking, right?
Yeah, I thought the booking of the 5-star and the stories being told of propping up DDM to be this dangerous faction on the rise with all this young talent, I absolutely loved it. They had a lot of the current stars, let's call Mayu and Momo in particular as their top 2 stars, kind of take a back seat and let other people get the big push. Maika defeating Momo at the beginning of the tournament, and they gave Maika the fighting spirit, and I can't disagree. She had a fantastic showing and really putting her over strong as a big up and comer. Now, does the ring work match that? Maybe not. I think it's a Utami light kind of presentation there still. A lot of judo backgrounds here in Stardom right now.
Yeah, I think she should add some things. Maybe not power moves like Utami. Maybe add some more finesse moves. I don't know how really to describe that. Maybe a little more lucha. so kind of get into those to go with the judo. Judo, like the judo, like a lot more like kind of like Azumi does with those spinning armbar stuff and hurricanranas. Add a little bit of that, I guess. You can mix that in with the judo a little bit.
Yeah, I thought Azumi's performance throughout the 5-star was very commendable. It definitely came across as a next level. She's reaching that next level. And then to contrast, Starlight Kid is, supposedly her exact opposite, right?
Right.
Young, same age, came up at the same time, generation rivals between the two, and yet Starlight Kid got dead last in the tournament.
I think Death got Death last, or I think at least they tied.
No, Death got 6 points, I believe.
Did she? I thought she got less than that.
No.
But
Starlight Kid only got 2, and Saida got 2 based on DQ.
Oh yeah, Saida was definitely like the one that was eating all the pins. But with Starlight, I think they gave her the same sort of 5-star push they gave Azumi the year prior, right? Though I think Azumi got more points. I think she got like 4 at least.
Yes.
But they're sort of trying to do the same thing, I guess. It makes sense to sort of elevate Azumi a little bit more. She's got a belt, even if it is just a high-speed belt. They seem to be a lot higher on. Like I said, they're trying to push Queen's Quest and DDM up a lot, so it would sort of make sense. When you saw it with Saya, right? Saya Kamatani had a pretty strong showing, was booked pretty strong throughout the 5-star. Even in defeat, she looked strong, right?
There was a fun little story. I'm going to interrupt you here. There was a fun little story they told with Saitani here where she missed her terrible shooting star, and Death immediately rolled her up and then laughed at her.
Oh, that was great. That was great. I loved that. It was amazing.
And that was great because then she was clearly in control. She went for a move she always never hits right. She loses, and in the very next match after that, she busts out the Kai driver from Dragon Gate.
Right, and I think it's her new finisher. At least that's what they seem like it's going to be, right?
Yeah,
and it's good that she's moving away from that shooting star. Because that shooting star is just not good.
Good decision, good little story there. Even if it's not, that's what was intended. That's how it came across to me. I loved it. It was funny.
Right. Well, I think the only damper on the 5-star was a Oedo tie, or more specifically, Natsuko, right? That was probably the only complaint I would have about this entire 5-star. Because it's got to be the strongest 5-star. I think this has been the strongest 5-star they've had, sort of period, in terms of just the amount of talent and the booking. Well, the booking was very strong throughout it, but God, man, Oedo Tai just brought everything down. The DQs, the really weird distraction finishes, like the one with Momo, it's just they just feel like kind of like the cheap group they feel like the jobber group that's not trying, and when they cheat to win, that's the only way that they can win. They feel really, really weak and not intimidating at all. They just feel like a bunch of geeks.
It's changed the channel type heel stuff. It's one thing if you do it well. It's one thing if you're actually getting heat. None of this Oedo Tai stuff is coming across that way. It's just, what a waste of a match. What a waste of my time. Like, why are you doing this? And, B. Priestley came back on the Korakuen Hall show. Hit the ring, talk some shit to Momo. They're picking that up again. They randomly vacated the SWA title, so they have something to fight for. Whatever. It's fine, I guess. I don't really have much issue with that per se. It's just the way it was executed. It just felt like I wasted my time to get to that point.
It also doesn't help that B came in and hit Ida, and that's how Ida got points in the Natsuko match. And then the very next match, like Kiona came to make the save for Saya, so Kiona was already in the ring. So Momo makes her entrance. They have a 4-minute match, and the crowd was into it, and the crowd was silent. And you look at and you see Saki round the corner, and you're like, oh, that's why the crowd went quiet. Like almost right after, and there was a lot of fans. I saw a lot of Japanese comments. They were not happy that they did it like that. It definitely makes B is good, and this one kind of got me a little concerned that they're going to make B just another DQ machine like the rest of them. Granted, match afterwards that they've had has since dissuaded that, but it's Oedo Tai is a terribly booked group right now. They don't fit in Stardom. They might fit in another promotion, right? Like Oz Academy or something, how they go about things.
They're evil and Bullet Club. That's what they are.
Yeah, and that doesn't fit in Stardom because Stardom's never really had that. Or at least it hasn't had that in quite some time, right? It hasn't had since Monster Goon back in 2012, right? That's not how they booked things in recent times. So it just comes off as really bad. It doesn't fit.
Well, we watched Dragon Gate where there's a huge heel group. It's a third of the promotion. And we're going to talk about Dragon Gate and how this is how you book a heel group right. They don't hit it out of the park every time. I've spoken about that in the past. But what we're seeing here from Oedo Tai is certainly not that. Again, it's not coming across as different. It's coming across as time wasting, and that's the worst thing you could possibly do.
Right.
And that's why we have a lot of issues with this TCS disbandment storyline going on. Should the group, be disbanded or stop or whatever? That's not what I'm talking about here. I'm talking about just Oedo Tai in general and how they're going about it. Just because the story makes sense or the reason why is fine doesn't mean I have to like it.
Right. I mean, I think I've said my piece before on the TCS disbandment stuff, but how they're doing it is definitely not something I like.
No. So we'll see what happens there, if they even disband in the first place or whatever. I mean, I think they should build to a hair versus hair match.
I mean, that would just make the whole thing more interesting, and not that it would be a good match at all, but...
Yeah. So, our top 5 5-star matches. Kay, what is your honorable mention?
My honorable mention is Julia and Tam. Definitely a better version of their white belt match. No ground game Julia. Just coming at each other like fire, like they should have coming out of that build-up for the white belt match.
Interesting, because I have that as my number 3. And I liked it because it was the brawl that I wanted the entire time. It brought vigor, and it brought that next level out of the feud that I've wanted. It gave me reason to care about their white belt encounter again. This is a case where if I didn't already know they didn't have a white belt match coming again, then I would have been even more into it based on this result. Tam gets the win over Julia. That was freaking awesome. She talked so much shit in her post-match promo. Tam is one of the best promos in, wrestling right now, I would say, where she is hell-bent on taking everything from Julia.
Oh, she does it so well. She flips the cute and crazy so well that it's very good. It's very good. She's got the best promo, at least in Stardom.
Yeah, I mean, she's a mid-card talent that's going up to the next level whenever she needs to, and you just don't get a lot of people like that. I like what they do with Tam Nakano here.
Yeah, I'm liking it too, especially recent stuff.
All right, well, my honorable mention is the Azumi versus Shuri match from the Fukuoka Day show on September 12th. So we already spoke about that match in particular on the previous episode.
Right.
Go back and listen to that. Number 5, K.
Tam versus Mayu. I really like this match. I like the intensity from both of them. Yes, the intensity from both of them was very, very good. The story being told there of Tam desperately wanting to beat the person she respects the most in Mayu, and Mayu just not wanting to give her anything less than 100%. And this was it the super kick spot where Tam almost no-sold it, didn't fall down all the way. And that was it was good. It was a very, very good match, and I believe Mayu did win that, right?
She did. That's what kept Tam out of the finals, and what kept Mayu alive, depending on future results. This is actually my number 1, Kay. It was my number 1 match of the 5-star.
Tam and Mayu?
Yes, I think it's one of the best 10-minute matches you'll find in all of wrestling of 2020. I love the fire to it. They both complemented each other extremely well in the ring. I love the result. I was on the edge of my seat the whole time. This was great top-level stuff here.
Right, I loved it. It was very good storytelling with Tam and Mayu, because they've been building that for years, with Tam respecting Mayu, Mayu being the one that accepted her after she got kicked out of Oedo Tai. So that's a long-term story that's been told, and so it was really well played off here, that's for sure.
My number 5 is Momo versus Azumi from the Korakuen Hall show on August 9th. Again, spoke about it last episode. Go back and listen to that.
I have that number 3.
Yeah, that was your number 3. Okay, well, there we go. Your number 4, please.
Mayu versus Konami. I really liked this. I think it was Konami's
me too.
Big
that is my number
match.
4.
I think it was Konami's big showing out match. I think she had quite a few solid matches up to that point. But that match, I think, was where I was like, oh, wow, okay, Konami. I see what you're doing here with the arm work and the head work and how Mayu sold all of it and the desperation that Mayu was showing in it and stuff. It was very well done. Konami looked dominant, but not too dominant to be over the red belt champ, but it was very well done. And Konami winning was surprising too.
Yes, sir. Yeah, I think that was Konami's best performance. Really credit to Mayu, how she put in just an amazing 5-star without being highlighted. She wasn't the focus of the results or the, well, people being super pushed, really. So to put in those kind of matches, you know, big MVP type performance from Mayu there throughout the tournament. So we already went over my 4 because I matched it, went over my 3. So I'm just going to go straight to my number 2, and that fills out my list. Momo versus Utami, the 20-minute draw from the Fukuoka night on September 12th.
That's my number 1.
Yeah. So I think that's our whole list.
Right. Well, my number 2 is Utami versus Himeka.
See, I didn't count that because it was the finals. I put that all on its own, and I actually put that Utami-Himeka 10-minute match, by the way, as a top 10 Stardom match of the year.
It was very well done, especially given how grueling the tournament was, and Utami sort of her arm being all banged up because of Sherry working on it, and it was good. I mean, I guess if I had to put anything else there, I don't know what else I can think of. I really liked that match, that's for sure.
The Utami Shuri match that was voted number 1 in the blue block by a lot of people.
I mean, you mean by Rossi Ogawa and a council of him and I guess one other person sitting next to him that agrees with him?
So, with that, I want to mention why I didn't have the Utami Shuri match in my top 5. So, Himeka Konami was the technical wrestler with strikes, putting down the power wrestler. Konami was focusing on I believe it was the right arm specifically. And she controlled 90-95% of the match until Himeka got one off on her, right?
Right, good story there.
Good story, simple story. And then later in the show, we got Utami versus Shuri, the striking technical submission wrestler against the big powerhouse. The exact same story was told where Shuri grounded Utami the 90-95% of the time. The big difference here was it went to a draw, so it was longer. So that the story there was Shuri just couldn't put her away, and sets up the good story going in. Look, I don't discount the 2 matches at all. It was curious to me why 2 of the same stories being told, and then it made all the sense in the world when the finals did happen. And that's why I actually rated the finals much higher, because it was a complete story package between the 2 final competitors going at each other, with Utami the 20-minute draw, not particularly having the limb work done for her, but she took the longer beating, while Himeka had the limb work done, but she got away with it much faster. So it was the whole story there. There's my reason.
Well, Shuri was working on the arm. There was a lot of arm and leg selling that was done on Utami, especially going into that match. I think she was favoring, at least with her arm and her leg, because Shuri had worked on both throughout the match.
Right.
Was grounding her.
Yeah, the focus was Himeka actually had her arm taped, and she was favoring it in the finals match.
Right. Also, Utami had less time to recover, too.
Yeah, it's all part of the
story.
story.
Himeka had more time, so it was very good, very well done story. I agree.
So there we go. That's Stardom.
That is.
Any final thoughts, Kay, over Stardom before we get into Dragon Gate?
No, outside of being okay that Momo versus B for the SWA belt's a good thing, because Momo has nothing to do on that show anyways. Giving her a title match is fine. Some people overreacted over that, so.
Well, I mean, Momo's a jobber, right?
Listen, I could go into that one, all right, but listen, let's not talk about that. I'll be here for an hour.
All right, let's play the RED drop and talk some Dangerous Gate. Oh, I'm excited.
Awesome.
RED.
RED indeed. Dangerous Gate, Dragon Gate took place on whatever the date was. Just a couple
Most
weeks ago,
Dangerous
obviously.
Gate.
Most Dangerous Gate.
I like that name. It sounds cool.
We took some predictions here from various people over what the steel cage match 6-way was going to be. We'll get into that match in a second. A lot of story to be told here. Hio versus Kento Kabune was actually a 5-minute time limit draw dark match, which actually got me, pumped it out of my seat, where Hio was cocky and almost got tapped out by the rookie. Very exciting. Kento Kabune is going to be a fucking star stud of this promotion. Just mark my words. It's going to happen.
Right. I'll agree with you on that one. He looked impressive. That's for sure.
Open the Brave Gate title match. Kaito Ishida, the champion, defeats the totally not comedy jobber Yosuke Santamaria in 13 minutes 45 seconds. This match was awesome.
Oh, those hope spots at the end were getting me. that was like, oh, are they gonna have Santa Maria win?
This is exactly what you want to see from a Brave Gate title match. You want to see fast-paced action, the shit heel almost losing. Like, dude, the timing of Santa Maria hitting the key moves, including, I believe it was the Crucifix Bomb, the second one in the match, and then you just see Hio and RED rip the referee out of the ring like, nope, you just see the ref fly to the side off camera. It was so good.
That was great.
Yeah.
It was very good.
And the thing about Dragon Gate is there was always a chance that the referee could call for a DQ, which then the title would be vacated. So there's always a chance of that. So RED really took a big chance there. The ref did, in fact, not call for the DQ, but Ishida got away with one. I don't know where they'd go with Santa Maria after this, whether she will continue her quest for bigger pastures, since Eita, her generation mate, if you will, is the champion. So very interesting what happens there. Yeah, this match was 4 stars, if I say so myself.
I will agree with you on that one.
Little rating. We just had a couple tag matches. There was an 8-man tag with Okada on one side, and he's still in his shit-giving mood. He's just, I'm taking care of business, getting the fuck out. So, see there. And then after that match, we had the glorious Ho Ho Loon come on English commentary.
This is the best.
Ho Ho Loon is my new favorite commentator in wrestling.
I think he's my favorite too.
He is fantastic. He played the role of the guy that has never seen Dragon Gate before. Could you explain the rules?
It was great.
And he was trying English metaphors, but not really understanding like how it would translate to the English language.
Lemon to the throat was great.
The best metaphor, I forget which match he said it. I want to say it was the KZ Naruki Doi match.
I think it was.
Where Naruki Doi hits KZ in the throat, and he goes, that's like if you have a lemon in your throat and the person squeezed really hard, and so you have lemons in throat.
It was so good.
We died. We've been cutting lemon throat promos ever since into our wrestling matches. Oh, he got him in the trachea. So his lemon isn't going to be feeling too well later, or some shit like that.
It was good. It was great. He had a few other gems in there too. Like if you hit them hard, they hurts. I think he said that a few times. It was like, yes.
Yeah, could you, and he'd always try to save himself because he was coming across as the stupid commentator, but he goes, no, I know, I'm just wondering if other people would know.
It was so good.
It was good. And he's from China, so that's why he sounds like that. He does indeed sound like that, so it's very funny. Right. Singles match, let's just get a mosey on here. KZ versus Naruki Doi, special singles match, balls to the wall, hard, fast, didn't let up for a second, 11 minutes, 31 seconds. I thought KZ almost got squashed in this match, but he fought back and did end up winning. Wow. It
was fast-paced, non-stop. There was not a single moment of breathing room. Then KZ getting tossed out on his face on the outside was something. He
got Doi-5'd, not in the ring, out of the ring to the floor this time, unlike Naruki Doi did to Eita in the title match. This one was done from the apron to the outside, and it gave us the best near count-out finish I've ever seen in like 20 years.
Oh, like he had hit 20 right as he was rolling in and then called it off and said it was fine.
And the ref signaled he was going to give it, because it even went 20, and then they stopped, and Naruki Doi's like, yeah, count out victory, and the ref signaled, and then he like changed his mind. Nah, I think he went in. Oh my god, I thought they were going to count him out, and Doi was going to get the win. He hit him with Doi 5s, near falls. I really, really thought they were building up KZ to just get squashed and keep Doi strong, but indeed, KZ does win this match, taps him out, because KZ's been putting over this submission finisher. So we got the submission victory. He's been putting together a submission finisher in his various singles matches coming into the show. So with what happens later, if KZ doesn't get the first Big Dream Gate title match, which of course we find out later he does.
Yes, he does. It's great.
This is the big reason why. Open the Triangle Gate title match. RED, that's Diamante, former WWE superstar Sakamoto.
Learning about that was crazy.
With Yoshida, defeated the Trios champions, Benkei, Dragon Dia, Strong Machine J. Strong Machine J still favoring an injury, unfortunately, but Dia and Benkei really came to play in this match. 16 minutes, 8 seconds. One of the best Trios matches of the year. It's definitely in my top 50 of multi-men matches of the year. This was great. Benkei was the big MVP of this match for me.
Oh, definitely. He looked great throughout the entirety of the match.
He did this fucking diving mid-rope spear to the floor, nice. Busts his eye open. I thought he died.
Oh yeah, I think we all thought he died because I think even the ref or there was someone who went over and checked on him. It was crazy. He just flew through the ropes.
And let's not discount the role Diamante and Sakamoto played in this match. They played the role of, Diamante in particular, matched Dragon Dia with the lucha shit, which was awesome. And then Sakamoto met Benkei with the strength factor. Everyone just clicked in this match. And then you had Yoshida and Strong Machine J just kind of, off to the side, playing their role where need be. Didn't mind that as much as all. But this was big match Benkei came to play. I loved it. It's the best he's looked in quite a long time. And Dragon Dia continuing to be one of the most exciting guys to watch in 2020.
Oh, it was a great match. It was definitely exciting from start to finish.
Yeah. It was sloppy, but it contributed to the mess that this thing was.
I think it was sloppy in a good way. It was sloppy in a we're exhausted. We're trying to get this sort of match done sort of way. That's what it came across to me.
No, I agree. So definitely seek this one out. I also gave this 4 stars.
I would give it 4 stars as well.
Yeah. Oh, and then my match of kind of the week, basically. The Twin Gate title match, the defending champions, Jason Lee and Kota Minoura, representing Team Dragon Gate, defeat the Team Torimon duo, Dragon Kid and Susumu Yokosuka, 20 minutes, 14 seconds. They even kind of build this up as, even though Dragon Kid and Yokosuka aren't really teammates like ever, especially in tag situations, they're synonymous with the Twin Gate titles. So they can put it all together and be a very formidable team. And then meanwhile, you have Jason Lee, who's one of my most improved wrestlers in the past 18 months, with Kota Minoura. Kay, if I told you coming into this match that Kota Minoura debuted in 2018, would you believe me?
No, I would not. Not with how good he was, no.
I believe he's also only 21 years old or 19. You know what? I'm going to confirm this.
That's probably good. I mean, he's really good, so.
Cage match. Kota Minoura. Drum roll, please. 21. I was right the first time.
Okay.
He is 21 years old. He debuted when he was 19, and he's already this fucking good.
I mean, just look at him and just Jason Lee as well. Holy crap. Right? I think you said before he was really bad starting off, like really bad.
Yeah, him and Diamante were quite rough to watch at times.
You telling me that and seeing how good he is, I couldn't even believe that. It's like, no, this guy must have always been really good because I just look at him and it's like, Jesus, this dude is crazy good.
Yeah, I mean, people like to compliment the New Japan, Young Lion program with Shibata, training people to be excellent wrestlers. Well, look, don't sleep on Dragon Gate here because they have so many people under 25 currently on that roster. There is a reason why this youth movement is hitting on all cylinders as it is. This is just incredible to watch Dragon Gate really push their new generation and new stars into the limelight and putting Kota Minoura, a 21-year-old, barely 2 years into his career. You talk about Suzuki being a fucking prodigy in Joshi. We cannot sleep on Kota Minoura, Kento Kabune, Jason, all these, Benkei, who's only maybe 4 years into his career. Dragon Dia, I think, is only 23. Strong Machine J got Rookie of the Year last year, and you could look at this Dragon Gate roster and argue that he's not even top 5. It's insane. In this match, you think, okay, I know I'm kind of hogging the mic time here, but this match blew my mind because Yokosuka and Dragon Kid, they're way into the limelight of their careers, yet they can still put in performances like this with these young guys and really make it a believable in-ring pure story of the fact that, look, Susumu's the technical guy and Dragon Kid is the, well, flippy guy, right? It's a good tandem.
Right.
But in this match, we had a very slow build, and Dragon Kid, kind of saving all of his high spot, because he's not a young guy anymore. He can still do the flippy shit, but if we're going 20 minutes, right, we're going to slow down this pace, and I'm going to get you at the end. That's what came across to me. And so the finishing back half of this match, your second 10 minutes, if you will, built up the exhaustion great and everybody needing to hit their key moves at the right time. But the young guns came through with Jason Lee doing just his nonsense, kicking out of every fucking thing. The turning point in this match, was with Jason Lee and Yokosuka. I believe it was Jason Lee. If it's Kota Minoura, I'm sorry I'm mistaken, but I have watched this match 3 times at this point.
I've watched it twice.
Yokosuka lariats this dude on they're both sitting on the top turnbuckle, and Yokosuka just sweat flies, lariats the throat, really squeezing the lemons in the throat hard, if you will, of Jason Lee. And once that spot happened, the entire match flipped into high gear. And it's one of my top 5 favorite tag matches of 2020. The amount of kickouts that Jason Lee hung in there, and then Kota Minoura was able to come in and save his partner at the right time to just do suplex bukkake all over this bitch, led to just a great finish.
I will agree. That finishing stretch was almost exhausting in just how good it was nonstop. There was, like you said, the constant suplexes. Jason Lee kicked out of literally everything. And then the one thing he didn't kick out of, his partner came in and broke up. So it made it look like he was like this guy who just wouldn't go down. And then he gets to the top and hits his crazy, what's he calls it? The Hong Kong
tornado.
Tornado. I thought it was Typhoon for a second there. Just hits that. It's a wild looking move.
It's a Starlight Press. It's awesome.
How he does that much in the air is beyond me, but it looks ridiculously cool. And I agree. I think, like you said, the youth movement, right? I think it's important, especially right now when a lot of the wrestlers and the wider scene being older. I can't really say too much about the male scene as much, but at least with the women's, that's the case, right? So seeing youth come up is really reassuring that the next generation is at least giving a chance.
And they're rising to the occasion, which you just don't see a lot of that. The only other promotion I can think of off the top of my head with a clear youth movement, and I mean the next level stars to take over the next 2, 3, 5 years, is in AEW, where they have all these young guys signed. The MJFs, the Jungle Boys, the Kip Sabians, Hangman Page. They're all there just waiting for their time.
Right, I think I can see that too. I think if we're going to use a Japanese comparison, or at least a Joshi War, I think Ice Ribbon is probably the great 1-for-1 in terms of that regard too.
They've definitely invested in themselves, yeah.
I like seeing the youth movements. It's definitely something that makes me feel like the next generation, because you always hear the story of the next generation not being given those opportunities, being held down by the older guard who just won't go away. And seeing youth movements happen, a very big problem in Joshi. That's a whole other topic though. But seeing younger generations, both women's and men's at this point, getting opportunities, and not only just getting, like I said, meeting those expectations, which is important, is reassuring to me that the future of each of these scenes and each of these companies is bright.
Mm-hmm.
It's important.
Yes. If there was a little bit more story to this match, just from outside the ring, I would have given this 5 stars. That's the only thing holding it back to me in my mind. But I easily gave this 4 1/4.
I would give it
4 3/4. That's what I meant.
Oh yeah, that's what I meant. Like 4 3/4. Yeah, I would almost go 5. I'd almost be willing to go 5.
Just it's just missing that story element to it. That's it.
Right.
Steel Cage Survival 6-way match. There's a billion stipulations to this. Basically, the key ones were: if Kai escapes first, he has to join RED and leave Team Dragon Gate. If Eita doesn't leave first, he has to defend his title against the Dragon Gate Generation member. And then everyone else had various stipulations if they got last. Most notably, Yoshino, if he loses, must retire and immediately have his retirement match against Naruki Doi and Buzz cut his hair.
Right.
And obviously, Big R Shimizu would have to go back to Ryutsu Shimizu, Buzz cut his hair, and he's kicked out of RED.
Right.
So before we go over the match, our predictions. Kay, you had Kai. Well, okay, we all had Kai basically turning heel and joining RED. We all had that one.
Yes, that seemed like the more obvious one. Yes.
At least the way we were looking at it. And then I thought that would lead to Yamato, and 3 out of 4 of us had Yamato losing this match. Turned out to not be the case, because we thought it'd be at least it would make sense story-wise with the way they've told Yamato of 2020, being betrayed by tag team members, and then just being embarrassed at year's end. I mean, he's the ace of Dragon Gate. I think he's bulletproof, so it would have been funny with him, straightening his hair, coming out with like white boxers, and cutting the pre-match promo.
It would have been great. It would have been great.
That did not happen. In hindsight, we probably should have seen the Yoshino retirement story being the big X factor of the match.
Right. I thought they were going to probably do that. The title one was going to be more the title Eita thing being either kicked out or defending his belt. I thought was going to be the bigger one.
Yeah. So the actual results were Kai betrays Yamato. He comes out first. Hulk goes out second, based on more Kai betrayal. Yamato goes out third, thanks to KZ air horn assist to Kai. So Kai was 2 for 3 at least. Eita gets out fourth, thanks to Ishida throwing powder in the face of Yoshino. And Yoshino got powdered big time.
Oh, yeah, he did.
And that came down to Big R, Shimizu, and Yoshino in the ring. RED really wanted to retire Yoshino. That's been a big story with Eita being hell-bent on that. But we got the big story assist of Ultimo Dragon busting into the ring, saving his young Kohai, his student, if you will. Got a huge pop from the crowd. Good story there. Yoshino escapes. He does not have to retire. The storytelling in this match was bar none. The match was 36 minutes 40 seconds. I loved it. The betrayal of Kai was done to an excellent degree.
Oh yeah, definitely was.
And it was all because of the setup, right? It was him and Shimizu, and it was all when it all unfolded, it all made all the sense in the world. He wanted to screw Yamato. They wanted to have Yoshino retire. What's the best way they can accomplish this? Well, fuck. If Kai was going to betray the whole time, then we know he's going into the match on their side. So what does he do? He hangs out at a flag, and he's really really teasing that. Well, I don't want to join RED, but I'm not going to help. I'm going to wait till someone else grabs the flag first, and then I can immediately grab the second one, right? So he's hanging out there forever until Yamato comes in, right?
Right. I thought the Kai thing was really well done. Him sitting there for as long as he did, too, because it was quite a long while he was standing up there. It sort of like added to the tension. It's like, is he, will he, won't he? And then when they finally did do it, I thought that was great.
Well, the key here for me was as soon as Yamato comes in, and they've been partners growing as the year has gone on. He wasn't quite going to help Yoshino. He's on the other generation. He's like, if you get the flag first, I'll grab. No problem. Don't really need to help you. Not to my advantage. Yamato comes in. He comes on. He's signaling, go home, go home. They go up together, and then RED's up there, and it looks like he's kind of fighting off the big steel kitty drum thing that they have up there.
Right.
And then he just grabs it slowly, and Yamato's struggling. Oh, okay, I'll get this flag. And then it, bong! El kabonged him with the steel drum, made the best sound, and then you have Kai just go, bye-bye, Yamato! Like the douchebag he became.
It was great.
Happily puts on the RED shirt, and he's just bouncing. He's like, yeah, we screwed Yamato! Yay! That fool! We got him twice in a year!
It was really well done. Like how long he stood up there, his partner coming in, then he comes down and wants to help out. It was all really, it was like they kept building to it, right? It's like you didn't know, like you felt for certain he was going to, but then you started doubting it because he was like, oh, he was hanging there, wasn't doing it when he had the opportunity to. And then when they finally paid off, it was really well done.
Absolutely. And of course, by the time Eita comes in, he comes out with a barbed wire board. Happily, he's like, I'm going to use this. But it didn't come in until the post-match. Because of the Ultimo Dragon assistance, Big R Shimizu does lose the match. He's kicked out of RED. There's a big RED beatdown, much like last year when Ben K got kicked out. This time, Big R did not get the powder. It was Yoshino. That stuck to him like pizza dough. It was really funny. And Eita's just talking all the shit in the world. You fucking fool. They goofily shave his head. And Eita's like, well, I didn't get to bring in my board into the match because you fucker, he's talking to Big R, you fucker changed the order on me out of your own dumbass, right? And the story all year has been Big R's been a fuck up. He's supposed to be the big, heavy, strong man of the group, and he just keeps losing. And the matches he does win, he has to win on this goofy La Mastral roll-up, right? He can't actually win with his move. He can only roll people up as the big heavy. So he's been a mess up all year. Eita brings in the barbed wire board, and then Ryutsu Shimizu reverses and throws Eita into this fucking barbed wire, and it just sticks to his skin. It looked utterly painful. Gets one over on the heels.
He was twitching too. Like it would look painful.
Oh, he was just bleeding from the back. I mean, we watched that parking lot brawl from AEW. This looked equally painful as anything they did in that match.
Oh, definitely. But I think the stuff with Shimizu was done really well because they had explained on commentary that he had switched the order and said he had a good reason for it, but never explained it to them.
Right.
So it was really well done.
Yeah, and then there was a show on the 26th that we watched. Basically, indeed, KZ is challenging for the title against Eita. And then Shimizu can't, my big question was he going to come out as his, revert to his old anime character? And I was like, I don't know. He has the talent to be a top of the card, part of this youth movement. But then you made the genius comment, well, what if that's part of the story? Where he's out of the group, he's kind of down on, this is his way of coping with it. He's going to have fun as this goofy character. And I bet Eita's come out and, ridicules him, and fuck me, Kay, you were right.
It seemed like the obvious story to tell. I can see them doing that for, at least one more show where he comes out in that goofy thing, gets beat up and ridiculed again, and then he snaps. And that's sort of how you do it. Or maybe you can build it a little bit longer since he already has a title shot match coming up, and maybe he costs Eita the match. He snaps and just comes down to the ring at some point. I don't know if he costs
Eita the match, but maybe evens the odds.
Maybe. I think that works. But I do think the story there is that he's going to snap and have a new character. Because you said he was in RED for a long time, right?
Long time going now, yeah.
So part of it was that he doesn't know who he is outside of RED. And so he reverts to the only thing he knew that he was before RED. His identity's been so tied to RED that he's lost. So he just goes back to the last thing he knew that he was, which is a goofy comedy character.
Look at the new Dragon Gate fan telling me about the story. I love it.
Well, you're filling me in on all of it, so I'm trying to piece the things together. And I'm here for it. It's good. It's good storytelling. I like storytelling in my wrestling, so.
No, and Dragon Gate's filled with it. They even harp back to things like just little details later. We pay attention to that Hulk looking at Eita, so maybe the day will come for that. The storytelling in the steel cage match was amazing. I'm not sure where I'm going to put it on my multi-man matches of the year. But the Fallout match from the big Dangerous Gate show was a good follow-up, good solid tag matches. I loved the Jason Lee Minoura versus Kento Kibune Takedo Kamai match. That was fun. It's exactly what it should have been. The main event was fun with the angle, and then the trios match prior was also fun. So a good little after show there. What was your favorite weapon in the steel cage match? Because I got mine in my head.
The air horn.
KZ's air horn, where he blows them in the ears, and they're all like, and they fall from the cage.
It was I don't know why no one thought of that. It's the most effective weapon, because all it does is make you want to let go and get away from the loud noise. It's perfect.
I personally loved I think KZ was the MVP of the cage match for sure.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Just from some of his outside shenanigans. I loved it when he had the bazooka streamer gun.
Oh, that's so right. That was so funny.
So Eita's on top of the cage. He's about to grab a flag, and then the camera pans out. KZ pulls up the bazooka, and he just goes, Eita! Poof! And just streamers fly out, and KZ's like, oh god, what is this on me?
It was so funny.
The shenanigans was great. I loved it. The steel drum did have my eyes. I'm like, what is that? What does Hio have? He has this fucking kiddie pool? A drum, a baking pan, what is that thing? And then it led to the Kai turn. I was so happy.
Oh, it was so good. And then those little boxing glove things, the sticks, the boxing gloves.
Yeah, that's every year. Yeah, that's every year. They're just trying to knock the hands off. I will say the detail of bringing in the military rope for BB Hulk so they couldn't knock his hands off the cage as they climbed it. That was a good touch.
It was like, oh yes, he has military training. This was surely the only thing to his advantage, and it took him forever to climb up it.
Yeah. But, it doesn't make sense at first when you go, oh, wait, they were selling their hands, like, getting crushed off the steel because of that shit. So, this was a fun show. It's probably going to be my match, or my show of the year. I don't know anything that's better in it from a bottom to top of the card, and how happy it made me.
It's probably my favorite male wrestling show. I think as a whole, I still have the Yokohama Buntai show is number one. That show is like balls to the wall fun as well. But I do think this is definitely up in the top 3 for me. It was a very fun show from start to finish. I enjoyed all the stories being told, and the cage match was ridiculous. It was every bit of the shenanigans fest that you hyped it up for me, and I love shenanigans. So
yeah, I might give the steel cage match. I think I'll equal it out at 4 stars as well. Based on other cage matches, I don't think it's better than, say, 2011. That really sticks out to me. Even last year, I thought last year's cage match was better. But it's one of the most fun things every year. It didn't disappoint this year, despite the crowd being pretty quiet most of the time.
I'd give it 4.25. I'd go 4.25.
No, there you go. Okay. I will play Naito's music as we get to talk about G1 here.
Awesome.
G1 New Japan Pro Wrestling.
Yes. My first experience, real experience with New Japan.
Oh, I forgot to do the Joshi War tally. Okay. Is Stardom's 5-star better than Ribbon Night?
Yeah, I'd give it to it. I think it's a whole, yeah.
Point for Stardom. Okay. Back on track. Not the 5-star. G1. The G1 New Japan. We have 5 nights. September 19th, A Block Night 1. September 20th, B Block Night 2. September 23rd, A Block Night 3. And then September 24th, B Block Night 4. And what happened upon recording today, September 27th, A Block Night 5.
Right.
Short thoughts, Kay, over your first 5 nights of the G1.
It's very different feeling from you've shown me DDT and Dragon Gate, and this definitely feels a lot different. It feels more big match heavy, right? It feels more spectacle, but also good wrestling, whereas the other two have their own different sort of feels to them. It feels more Major League Wrestling, but I enjoyed some of what I saw. I think there's a few people I like. I like Ospreay. He's flippy, cool shit. Ishii's pretty cool. Or not Ishii. The guy that wrestled Kenny Omega, I'm blanking on his name. Ibushi's pretty cool. I like him. And Naito's pretty cool. Those are, I think, the 3 that I like going into all of this.
Yeah, well, everyone, I think, knows who I gravitate to. Myself, Shingo is my number 1. The first 5 nights. So what we're doing here is we're putting together our top 20 matches of the G1.
Right.
And obviously, for the podcast, we'll probably just go over our top 5 matches when the G1's all said and done. And then I'll just kind of copy and paste and post it on my Twitter at BowlingJD for my top 20 G1 matches. And I gotta say, I'm pretty happy with it so far. Not a big fan of the Evil interference, but even then, Zack Sabre Jr. had a good match with Evil, with the way it all played out. And with babyface Zack Sabre Jr., of all things.
That was crazy. That was very crazy.
So what's your biggest 2 highlights, and what's your lowest of lows for the G1 so far?
So far, I think the Suzuki and Ishii match was like old people beating the hell out of each other, and I really liked that. And then I think the Ishii Ospreay match was a lot of fun. There was a lot of story in there, as well as Taichi and Suzuki.
A lot more grounded than I'm sure a lot of people were expecting. It was more of an Ishii match, and Ospreay working a heavyweight style rather than his flippy Boss J style with the Lucha Libre.
Right, but then it built up to his flippy stuff. I think towards the end there, I really liked that storytelling there.
Yeah, the speed just taking over the power in this one instance.
Right, and then I think Taichi and Suzuki was good.
Yeah, okay, so let's talk about the Taichi story going on, because it's very underrated.
Right.
So, Taichi faces Jeff Cobb, beats him clean.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Then he faces stablemate Minoru Suzuki, and he also beats him clean. Yes, there was a lot of Suzuki-goon shenanigans, exactly what they should be, where the ref can't keep them apart. They brawl outside, they're using all sorts of weapons against each other, throwing each other in barricades.
Right, I liked it, though.
Yes, and then Taichi beats him clean. He takes a long, hard look at that iron glove. He's like, man, I guess I didn't need it after all. He's like having an epiphany. Maybe I am as awesome as I think. And then cut to what happened today, where he's against a Yujiro. And this fucking guy Taichi just could not figure him out. Yujiro is suckering him into these forearm battles, and then he just hits him early. He's faking him out left and right. And Taichi's on his last ends. He's at his wit's end against this fucking guy, and he just pushes the ref, kicks him in the nuts, rolls him up. Fucking out of here. And he grabs his iron glove. He's like, maybe I need this shit after all. Good God, that was close.
that was good. It was very good. I liked that as well.
Taichi is the top of the block, baby. While fucking Ishii is 0-3.
But to say my low light, everything Okada's doing, he's boring me, and I don't know. I just can't get into any of his stuff right now. It's very boring. His little chokehold thing he's trying to do is really bad looking. It doesn't look like he cinches it in well enough. He needs maybe do something else, maybe wrench himself with his legs on the body, maybe grab the other arm and wrench it around too, so they can't have one arm fighting it off. It just looks really weak, and it just doesn't. He's just boring me right now.
Yeah, and so the story, I think it's pretty obvious, especially with the post-match promos Ibushi's cutting, where it's like, that's not the Okada I met at Wrestle Kingdom. I don't know what this Okada is. I want the Rainmaker back kind of situation. I want to beat you at your best, not whatever this version is. The story clearly to me, I mean, at worst, it's Okada trying to find a new style. At worst. So let's go with the fact that this is a story being told with Okada, where he lost at Wrestle Kingdom, and he's trying to put over this new version of himself. You know, maybe this new version is what will get him back to the top. And what's this resulting in is kind of what we got with the Ibushi match, where on night one we saw Okada go as far as to try and hit the not the golden trigger, the big knee strike Ibushi hits as his finisher.
Kamagoye, right?
Yes, thank you. Hits the Kamagoye, but instead Ibushi reverses it, drop kicks him, and then just pins him clean. Just bang, came out of nowhere, right? All the stories being told here make sense. They're just not coming there. It's not enticing, exciting matches that we really want. That's why we watch New Japan in particular.
Right. Well, even if there's a story there, if the matches aren't any good, the story being told falls flat.
Right, it's lame. It goes in that category again of just because the story makes sense doesn't mean I think it's any good. Because what the result is we're getting matches from Okada that we just don't like. Okay, take the Jay White Okada match we just watched, where Okada came out of the Ibushi match with the bummed up back. It's all taped up, and Jay White targets it. Hey, good stuff here. Jay White's pulling off the best heel maneuvers of 2020, where he's mocking the crowd that they can't clap for their heroes. It's fucking awesome.
That was great. It was amazing.
He's making fun of the clapping. He's making fun of the ace, or the Okada, Mr. Rainmaker here. He's doing all of his Jay White shenanigans, and it leads, and Okada just won't leave this Cobra clutch alone. He's like, I'm gonna work my match in, and now he's being stubborn about this move. And what did it do? It cost him the match against Jay White, because Jay White, had his ghetto shenanigans involved, hits that Blade Runner, pins him 1-2-3 easy. Okada's 1-2 in the tournament, right?
Right.
So there's going to be a time where Okada hits the Rainmaker and he stops being stubborn about this, and then he goes on his comeback run. I think that's the story we're going to get in the G1. Now, when he does hit it, it will lead to, I believe, good matches going forward. It's just this journey here. It's kind of like the Hangman Omega thing, where, it all makes sense. Is it really clicking on all cylinders like we want it to? Is it leading to things that we want in a good amount of time? I think in this Okada case, I can make a case that it's working for Omega Page for me, but in the Okada's case, this is most of 2020 we've gone through now, where we have boring match Okada, and I don't like it.
Right. Well, I think it's the same case for both of these. If this is the story being told, it's not a story that I'm invested enough in because the matches aren't making me interested. With the Kenny Omega and Hangman stuff, it's more of, like I've said before, the other shoe dropping. Like, where is this next step? It goes from like 11 and we're dropping down to like a 5. And we're kind of just coasting on a 5, and I feel like it's just not clicking with me in terms of how the story progression I felt should have gone. With this, I just think the matches are boring. Story or not, I think that the matches aren't any good. The story falls flat, like I've said. Now, if it picks back up, that's fine, but that's still not going to change if these matches are bad.
I think if you want a good storied match in which guys turn back the clock, before we keep talking about boring match Okada, the Naito Tanahashi match blew me away. I absolutely adored that. It was like the guys hit the reset clock on like 2011, 2013 dudes. It was so fun to see. Tanahashi has come in at peak shape. Naito looked like the fucking champion coming out of it. Tanahashi told that story where he's the old vet. He's going to try his hardest to come back to that level, but he just wasn't good enough to beat the double champ on that night. That's kind of been the story of Tanahashi this year. It's one of my favorite matches of the year. It definitely made the top 10 list. And there's 2 other matches that made my kind of top 10 New Japan list that kicked some of those, I think, great empty arena matches, like the Shingo series. The Shingo Ospreay match wasn't as good as their Boss J match from last year, but I still think it knocked it out of the park. Really invoking heavyweight style and Lucha Libre. I mean, you want to talk a match that really just makes me smile? It's those 2 guys going at each other. And then the Ibushi Ishii match, also from the same day. I mean, good God.
That was just slap it. That spot where they're laying down, slapping each other, and then just getting up on one knee, slapping each other back and forth. Both knees, slapping each other, then standing up and slapping each other. It was good. It was great. I love it.
Yeah. So a very good day from night 5 here. I got unfortunately Minoru Suzuki Jeff Cobb match laid an egg. That was disappointing to see. They didn't know like how to communicate with each other or something or another.
There was a lot of miscommunication. It was very, very obvious. A lot of messes up. A lot of like, are we supposed to do this? What's the next spot? Sort of deals.
Yeah. What if I told you, Kay, that I watched a 15-minute Yoshihashi match and I almost wanted more?
I wouldn't. I don't know. I don't know how I'd react to that. I'm still learning New Japan.
Okay, well he's a goober and he was against Blues Brothers, Manami Toyota, Half Gear, Juice Robinson.
Oh, that's right.
That's probably the match that has surprised me the most.
that's that gear, man. The fedora that's just the glasses. The fedora. It's crazy. It's crazy. I like it though.
A white tank top, Manami Toyota pants. It's like I don't know what's going on with Juice Robinson. He's a wacky dude. And he got a good match out of Yoshihashi. Probably the best crowd reaction out of the whole tournament because he's the one that started the Emi Sakura "We Will Rock You" chant throughout the match. That was funny.
Yeah,
Juice Robinson's gear watch just never disappoints.
Like I just want to see if he's gonna pull anything new out now because it's like, yo, what? Like I think it was supposed to be IRS, and I'm like, I don't see.
Yeah,
IRS.
he looked like Ernai Shyster there coming out.
See, I see Blues Brothers. So I'm like, oh, I see the Blues Brothers here. I don't see IRS. But it's ridiculous. It's great, and he's not half bad. I'm enjoying his matches.
I'm very happy that Kenta is being Kenta in this tournament, and we're not getting Bullet Club bullshit interference.
Right, that's probably refreshing, given the fact that the other 2 have that a lot.
Yeah, I was quite afraid. If I'm only gonna get shitty main event evil type Dick Togo bullshit. I'm glad it's only 1 match. It's not 2 or 3 of them on a show. So Kenta being Kenta, the Kenta Goto match is really my style. Where they kicked the shit out of each other. They both worked the body part. Goto kind of was more of a revenge ploy, and then Kenta just taps him out clean after working the body part all match. I really like that story. That is a me match.
Yeah, it was very good. It was very well done. Kenta looks really good. I like Kenta so far.
Yeah. So the overall performances of the G1 has definitely lived up to what I wanted. You know, some matches I was kind of had circled, maybe didn't live up to my hope that they had, but if I look at my block rankings on just prediction, a lot of it's gone pretty much how I thought it would. There's been a couple surprises that took me on. I thought Tanahashi was going to beat Naito, for example. That's kind of the big one, where I thought that was going to lead to a Tanahashi Naito title match between now and Wrestle Kingdom. That wasn't meant to be, so now I'm curious to who does beat Naito in the end, because I believe he is undefeated at this point in the G1.
Isn't Evil in his block?
Evil is in his block. Don't even. I will say a match that was good, but it just didn't do it for me, was the Zack Sabre Jr. Naito match.
It was too long.
I like Zack Sabre Jr., I like his style, but there was something about it where for a good 20 minutes out of the 28 minutes that match went, just did not do it for me. I was exhausted by the end of it. I could have probably fallen asleep if I wasn't so bent on paying attention.
Right. I mean, I just think it was too long. I think if you shaved like maybe 10 minutes off of the match, it would have been a lot more enjoyable, but it just kept dragging on. Okay, I think I checked out at a certain point.
It seemed like the story was Zack Sabre Jr. was either going to tap him out or work towards the time limit draw on the champion, but it just didn't work out for him. In my head, I was hoping for their New Japan Cup match they had a couple years ago. That was the one where Zack Sabre Jr. tapped out like everybody to win it, and Naito being one of them. Didn't get that match, unfortunately.
Right. It was just very, very boring. I think if it had the 10 minutes taken off, it'd been a little bit more tight at least.
Sure.
But it definitely, like I said, I checked out, and I think by the end I was just like, oh, okay, cool, it's over.
Do you have a worst match?
That Okada match, the first one that they had.
Okada Ibushi?
No. Was that the
Okada Yujiro? One? That's the one.
Yeah, that one. That was not good.
That was pretty garbage. Yeah.
Like I didn't even want to watch half of it. I think another one where I just sort of checked out. I was like, this match isn't good. No, I don't like this.
Yeah, I want to say the Evil Yoshihashi match was one I absolutely had fuck all interest in because I knew what was coming. Yoshihashi the Goober just wrestles his style, and then eventually the Dick Togo Garrote Wire interference, the Hitman Wire. It was like, what the fuck is this?
I think I've got to the point where I just expect Evil to be shit anyways. Like the scale goes from good, bad, evil.
Yeah, but it was good, bad, evil. That's definitely one of them. So, yeah, the G1 has been very enjoyable. Very impressed with Naito. He's hanging in there. Tanahashi kicking back the clock. Good stuff.
That hair though, man. His hair's on point.
Hair is on point. Absolutely. Do we have anything else we want to mention over the G1?
No, I don't think I have a whole lot left after that.
All right. Well, let's play that Manami Toyota music and talk some All Japan women.
Hell yeah.
We go into our retro section of the podcast. All right, Kay.
Yes.
All Japan Women Classics, episode 29. All matches were from the Omiya Skate Center, April 27th, 1989, and then March 4th, 1989. The March 4th matches happened, the first two matches on the show, and then the April 27th matches happened on the second two matches. No, there was only three. I'm sorry. Wait, was there? Wait. I think
the three were all the
1, 2, 3,
Crush Gals.
There's four matches.
Four? Okay.
Oh my god, yeah. Whew. All Japan Tag Championship on the line. Miori Kamiya and my new favorite, Reibu Namada, taking on the youngsters of Kaoru Maeda and Mikia Takahashi.
with their bright ass ticket gear. It was like bright colors with the word tickets on. We didn't get to see what else it was saying on there, but it says tickets in big letters. That's all I took away from that.
Very strange Speedo gear indeed. And this, I was I was heavily anticipating this match because Reibu Namada, the last time we saw her, she kicked the shit out of a young Manami Toyota.
Oh, it hurt me so much.
And then we got like just this like 5-minute kind of squash match where I believe Kamiya and Amada just win.
Yeah, it came out of nowhere. It just kind of like felt really short, almost like it didn't get going really.
Yeah, couldn't even catch our breath, and before we knew it, it was over. So that was disappointing. But a match that wasn't disappointing was the next one. That was the Marine Wolves versus the Fire Jets.
Ah, yes, the Fire Jets. The Yumika Hota's team.
Yumika Hota's team against Akira Hokuto's team. And I did listen back to this.
Yes.
And Uno and Mika Suzuki are now known as Akira Hokuto and Manami Suzuka. So they have gone through the name change officially.
Yes, that's good. We got the Hokuto finally.
She is officially Hokuto, and she is officially Suzuka against Hota and Nishiwaki. So these are your supposed 4 up-and-comers, along with, the Aja Kongs, Manami Toyotas, all kind of coming in 1990-91. Bull Nakano's from the kind of period in between generation.
Sure, but she doesn't end up retiring because they get rid of the rule before she could, which is probably a smart idea. But...
Right. Well, Bull Nakano is still your top person taking over from the void left by Dump Matsumoto. So she's already kind of come into that role, but that's still a big role to fill. So your people, your why this match is important. This was the 3WA number 1 contendership match for the titles. These are your 4 people that they're priming to take over for the Jumping Bomb Angels retiring, the Crush Gals retiring, but that's a huge role to fill.
Right. And I don't think these teams ever, or these wrestlers ever really lived up to that, unfortunately.
Well,
which I guess is very big shoes to fill. So
there is a problem with that, and we'll get to it. But this match was fun. We got to see the Marine Wolves here, Hokuto and Suzuka, really showcase what they're made out of and why All Japan women are holding them in high regard. And they do win this match, which gives them a title shot in the next month, which we saw on the show.
Right. Akira Hokuto still looks as good as... she obviously gets better as she gets older, right? But
yes.
You can still see the potential in her more than Manami. That's for sure.
Yeah, she is the more standout. And they were priming her before making her part of this tag team. They're priming her also for singles competition. And they're also doing that, coincidentally, on the Fire Jets, they're doing that more with Hota.
Yeah, I was about to say
instead
that.
of Nishiwaki. You could definitely see, it's that Lioness Asuka, Chigusa Nagayo kind of situation. You know who the bigger star is going to be, and then the other one is going to be the story of them meeting up with their partner. They're doing the same thing. They didn't do that with the jumping. They didn't do that with, say, Yamazaki of the Jumping Bomb Angels because they had a different role to play.
Right, so, but the difference is here is Lioness Asuka actually was able to meet that, whereas with Nishiwaki never does, and Manami Suzuki I don't think ever does either.
I guess we'll see what happens with Manami Suzuka. Maybe maybe she continues as a tag role. I know she sticks around for a while, so we'll definitely see the journey. I think it's safe to say she gets overshadowed by that generation coming into play in 1990.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. But I think even Hokuto gets overshadowed too because she never wins the big one. So
I guess we'll see. And unfortunately, we get the Mika Komatsu retirement match that follows here. It's Yumi Ogura versus Mika Komatsu. This is the Calgary Typhoon send-off match. This is where we notice horrible camera work.
Oh, the whole show had it, really.
Yeah, this April 27th, 1989 show had atrocious camera work, just incessant zooming. It was doing this weird thing where they would match the movement of the wrestler, which was very odd.
Yeah, I didn't like it. It was very off-putting.
Yeah, so let me try and paint a picture here. Imagine you have a camera guy, and the wrestler in the ring starts to move left. Okay, the camera will move left with the wrestler and then let's say the wrestler grabs someone for a German suplex. The camera will then match the motion of the German happening. So you see this like U movement happen, and it's very off-putting, as I should say.
Right. It's also kind of made me nauseous at times with certain moves that they were doing it for. It was very not good. No bueno. Don't do it no more.
Yeah, it didn't have the camera cuts, but it was just this motion of it all. It was very bad. So, this had me thinking, because the previous episode we didn't know the Mika Komatsu retirement was just in the next show, right? Just a month later.
Right. We didn't know that at all.
And what we're seeing happen here is we have the Jumping Bomb Angels retiring soon, at least a half of them, right?
Right.
Crush Gals killed him. Okay? Then we have the next show on this journey, Crush Gals against the Calgary Typhoons. Crushed him. And now we have the Komatsu retirement show. And I think they're going to try to have Yumi Ogura go for a singles run of some kind to get as much as they can out of her. Because
right, but she retires next year.
She retires in 1990.
Mm-hmm.
So what we're seeing here is a pattern of Crush Gals are retiring. We're going to get as much as we can out of these other retirees. Big match, back to back, for their last shows. They're getting as much money as they can for these last ones. Instead, what they probably should be doing is having these last matches put someone new over. Your Fire Jets, your Marine Wolves of the world. We're not seeing that.
No, we're not. And it's very much a problem that they end up not really... It ends up biting them later, definitely, especially losing the talent that they lost. Right? The Jumping Bomb Angels were very popular. Crush Gals were popular with a lot of the women in the attendance. So when they go, you lose like almost your entire women's audience.
Right. And this is the other thing. When I was going on through this early 80s to now journey, what we saw a lot of the times was they would take the title off of someone whom was retiring in the next year or so. Devil Masami is probably the big name that comes to mind, right? When Jaguar Yokota was retiring, she was, champion forever, and then it was Devil Masami's time. When Masami was kind of heading out, they kept her in the All-Pacific title, the white belt title, for quite a while, but she wasn't the main draw, right? That's what led to the Linus, Asuka, and Crush Gals basically coming into the top draw. Changing of the guard, right? At the top.
Right.
Putting new people over, and we're not getting that here. Instead, it's very short-sighted, getting as much money as you can now instead of preparing for the future, which is what we saw in the early to mid 80s.
See, I wonder if it's that they saw the writing on the wall. They saw that they didn't have anybody. Like, I think the Bull Nakano thing was them trying to get that level of popularity. Bull Nakano was popular, but she wasn't popular with the demographic they wanted her to be popular with, I think.
But that's really contrary to what they were doing before. If this was just a few years prior, they would have had Bull Nakano beat Nagayo for the title, because Nagayo's heading out. She could still have the tag titles or the All Pacific title, but they didn't do that. They kept the red belt on her. Well, I guess it was vacated for a while there, but it came down to the Crush Gals being numero uno, even in the tag team situation. It's the whole promotion's based on these two people.
Right, and I think again, like you had pointed that out, that it's just that they hadn't been doing this prior, and I think to me it just comes off as they maybe either they knew that they weren't going to have anybody in that spot, and so they didn't bother, which was dumb anyways. But I think they wanted to cash in on the big money they're having now because they knew they weren't going to get it going forward.
Yes. I mean, that's pretty obvious what they're doing here. We're seeing all these last chance retirement books. That's what we're seeing.
Right. Well, if you know the history about AJW, you know the guys that owned it were very terrible with their money. Yeah. So that could have easily been why they said, well, we're going to cash in everything because we're not going to get this sort of money going forward now.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened. And Bull Nakano we haven't seen her in months since she lost to Nagayo. She's disappeared. it's because they're spending all this time with this last chance booking. So, Yumi Ogura, Komatsu, it's a retirement match. We've seen a million of them at this point, unfortunately.
Right.
And then we got our 3WA World Tag Titles, Crush Gals versus Marine Wolves. And this was a good match. It was quite something. We saw Nagayo possibly get probably concussed,
Most
after
likely.
Suzuka goes for a senton off the top and just lands back first on Chigusa's face, and she clearly gets knocked the fuck out.
They hit heads. Their heads hit each other. She had overshot her completely to where her head clipped Chigusa's head.
Yeah, so Suzuka's out because the back of her head connects, so she probably has a concussion. So she goes off to the side, and Nagayo, being the tough Rambo son of a bitch she is, she stays in the match, and she's just a wreck. And she finishes it, and poor Akira Hokuto here just has to take these just terrible shots, and she gets pinned. But the match itself was basically German suplexes and sleeper holds over and over again. It was good, but to build an entire match essentially around 2 moves was quite something.
It was definitely something, but I think the wrong people went over, as I've already talked about, because the Marine Wolves are the young up-and-coming team, and you get the Crush Gals sort of beat them.
Yeah, and we're only, I think, a month away from Nagayo retiring. The Marine Wolves should have absolutely won this match, and what better way than playing off a real legit injury of Nagayo actually getting knocked out in the match, and then losing. That's a real story to tell.
Right.
So that could have gotten away with one on top of it, and you've crowned new tag team champions. By the way, those tag belts they got going on in AJW now are fucking slick, awesome, black metal AF title belts.
Oh, yeah, no, they're great. I think I've said it before, but the Stardom belts are based sort of loosely off of them. With the sort of how heavy the front plate looks, the little crown on the star, and the stars lining up to the side of the belt, matching the small stars that lined up to the side of their tag belts.
Yeah.
So that's an interesting note, but those belts look sick. I love them. They look good.
If I'm not mistaken, again, I believe Nagayo retires a month or within 2 months of this match, and then Asuka retires within 4 months of this match, 4 or 5. So they're both on their way out bad because of the 25-year-old limit rule where they have to retire at that time, because clearly they're over the hill and need to marry and have children.
Yes, because Nagayo was always going to marry and have kids.
Of course, yeah.
Yes, no, her of all people was going to, no, that obviously that didn't happen.
Yeah, so good match. I think in hindsight, unless they were going to change the rule on the spot in 1989, which was clearly not going to happen, Marine Wolves should have won, put over the newbies. Akira Hokuto was their future. They were building her up. She is the number 2 being built up person in the promotion, and to her eat a pinfall like this didn't do her any favors. And there's no wonder no one can get behind these people, because they're not building them up. They're building up to just get crushed by the gals.
Right. And it makes you really see why things didn't work out.
There's a reason why so many people left and stopped watching.
Yeah, especially the women, because you didn't have anybody for them to attach themselves to post Chigusa, and that was a very bad move. You should, because they had people on the roster like Hota. Hota would have been perfect to fit that role, right?
Yes.
She has the very tomboyish look to her, very rough and tumble, very Chigusa-like esque, right? And you could have had Chigusa put her over, and that would have probably worked, but nope.
And they did this move with Bull Nakano taking over from Dump very well. I thought that was very well done. They're even kind of booking her the same way, where she doesn't quite win the big one, but she's always in as a threat. But clearly, there wasn't any other wrestlers of that level, and Bull Nakano was on her own, so she probably should have won the title.
Right. We'll see something interesting with the next running up to stars, right? With Manami and Aja and Bull, we'll see something very interesting about how they got to where they got, right?
Yeah. So our next classic episode is episode 30, and that's kind of a like an anniversary show that they did. So we'll be watching kind of the first 3 matches from there, which takes place in the 70s and early 80s before this classic episode really started. So we'll get to see the beauty pair, for example. That's going to be fun.
Oh, I'm so excited.
Yeah. So let's talk about some New Japan 90s here as I play the Liger music. Joshi Jushin Thunder Liger takes us into New Japan through the 90s. No other notable matches were watched this time around, just kind of getting through February and spring here with a few matches. You watched all of these, actually, okay?
I have. I don't know if I remember all of them, though.
It's okay. They kind of all bleed together. Unfortunately, they got a couple stories going on in New Japan during this era. I got to talk about Shiro Koshinaka and Kengo Kimura here, because they were against the team of Riki Chosu and Takayuki Izuka before he became Crazy Guy. He's still a young, pink, hot stuff Izuka with big lariat man Chosu.
Right.
But Koshinaka continues to be the guy for good wrestling matches within New Japan Pro Wrestling here in the 90s. Him and Kimura make this exciting team tandem to watch, because it's a tandem of strikes, and they just kind of roll over their competition with it all. Koshinaka gravitates and he relies on his leaping butt attack, while Kimura has his just jumping boot strikes that he does in various ways. Very fun to watch. This particular match here ends after a member of Koshinaka's faction rips Chosu out of the ring, and the ensuing brawl outside with a host of people representing both sides. The heels do take advantage of this and kill Izuka with an assisted powerbomb double team move to win. This was a fun match with an excellent finish. I need more of this in my New Japan in the 90s.
It was much more exciting than some of the later stuff, minus the stuff with Hawk.
Well, speaking of Hawk, we got Power Warrior again and Hawk Warrior against Hiroshi Hase and Chono. Unfortunately, this comes across in a time where Animal was injured, and Animal just passed away, so this kind of got me to, like, everyone's talking about his history, and this is why Power Warrior was in the position, Kensuke Sasaki here, in the position he was, is because Animal was kind of out of the picture for the time being during 1993. So I did learn that. Unfortunately, I had to learn it through Animal passing away in the past couple weeks. But, yeah, Kensuke Sasaki, I think, plays the Power Warrior role well. Just from the Road Warriors team during this time frame. Hawk is a total beast. He just press slams both Chono and Hase with ease. It just pops the crowd because of how strong and scary he looks,
and how roided up he is. Very clearly, he's on the gas. Very clearly.
Not as good as the Steiner brothers match against the Power Warriors here.
No, not enough cocaine was in Hawk's system.
But Chono does lose off a modified Doomsday device that looks suspiciously like a top rope heart attack.
It did.
Yeah. Fun, simple 10-minute match. And this is the story also being told here right now. So we got Tatsumi Fujinami versus the Great Kabuki. So we saw Kabuki in the last episode with Headlock Talk on that particular episode. This was painfully slow and boring.
Oh, so boring.
Easily 90% of this match was nothing but holds and nothing else.
I checked out so hard.
Oh, this was awful. There was a small 20-second flurry where Fujinami just throws a bunch of punch strikes. Just do. He pops the crowd up. It was like 5 minutes into the match, and then nothing until the finish came. Kabuki is old. He's melted cheese, and he's out of shape.
His face looks like melted cheese. His gut looks like he ate too much cheese.
And then the gray beard just makes him come across as even more old at this time. The finish came across as at least this had a good finish to it. I will give it credit. This is the other 5% of the match. So the ref gets distracted, and then Kabuki green mists Fujinami, gets a big pop from the crowd. But then, strangely enough, considering that Kabuki is clearly being built for a feud with the IWGP champion Keiji Muto, Fujinami fights back, he mounts this comeback, and shockingly jumps onto the shoulders of Kabuki, and then he Joshi rolls up Kabuki for the pin.
Yeah.
A good finish, but a terribly boring affair, and very confusing booking here.
They said Kabuki's going for the main belt. That's not reassuring.
That's what they're building towards. That's what it's coming across during this era as. And I'm trying to not do too much research to spoil myself on these results I don't know, because I didn't know Kabuki and the Great Muta had a fucking feud in the early 90s, because that sounds awesome on paper. That's a dream match situation. but Kabuki losing to the Dragon here just really makes me scratch my head. And the match sucked, so there's that.
Oh, it was very boring. It was like 99% sleep, go to bed. It's boring.
Now, a match that was fun was Tenryu, Hara, and Ishikawa, your Team War, versus Muto, Hashimoto, and Akira Nogami, kind of newcomer to this retro watch here. We haven't really seen him before. He's a young boy, if you will. He's got the plain blue outfit going on. It's a continuation match between War and New Japan. Nogami played the role of the sacrifice, basically. There was a fun moment in the match here where all three New Japan dudes beat up Tenryu with a flurry of elbow drops, and the crowd absolutely popped. And I popped
Yeah,
too,
it was great. It was like the best spot of the match, I think.
Absolutely. And yeah, I mean, you can clearly tell that this feud has lost a lot of heat with the crowd, as it's just being extended after their Tokyo Dome show for that kind of Inoki to come in and play hero, basically.
Yeah, when you told me that, and then like knowing what I know now about Inoki, kind of look up a little about him, it's not exciting. I'm like zero excited for that match.
Yeah, it's a bummer because that was that turned into just a very heated feud. Even I got into it, and like it slowly built up to something I was interested in, and the crowd loved it. And to see it just kind of fall off just for one guy to be put over. Now, I could be wrong. I don't know if Inoki wins that match, but it's Inoki. You can kind of assume.
Right, he's this Japanese Hulk Hogan.
Yeah. We'll get to Hulk Hogan in Japan soon enough. It's happening.
I'm excited for that, actually.
I believe that's the next episode. We'll be covering that show.
I'm eagerly awaiting this.
Because that's in April or May that happens. March 23rd, 1993. We're out of February finally. Tokyo Gymnasium. It is Hashimoto against Hiromichi Fuyuki. I'm not familiar with this Hiromichi Fuyuki, but he is a bulldozer of a guy and a heel. Unfortunately, kind of slow in plotting. You can really see Daichi take after his father a lot in this match. There was some nice little trash talking involved that Shinya Hashimoto did to Fuyuki to kind of invoke some heat, and it's like, come on, hit me if you're gonna hit me kind of situation. But Fuyuki really played up the, oh, if that's what you want, I'm gonna walk outside the ring and I'm gonna look at the crowd and make them mad that we're not fighting. Yeah. So it was subtle, old school heel stuff. If the match was a little bit more exciting, a little bit more kicks, I probably would have liked it more, but not something worth checking out, I would say. That's our New Japan Retro Watch. Not much else to say. It was kind of just straightforward matches. You can tell New Japan was kind of in flux during this time, just waiting for their feuds to hit that April or May show, whenever that was, for Inoki. Oh well. Hey, they all can't be winners, I suppose. That's why we're here, we're learning.
Yeah, it feels very like holding off on things, very like throwing stuff together, just kind of like slowly build. Yeah. Or to hold off, like stuff like that.
So in between these two episodes here, it would be foolish of me not to plug my Wrestling News World retro article. So if you want to read a little bit more in depth, I add some things that I don't cover on the audio, and vice versa. I say some things on the audio here that I don't write in the articles over what we do here on the Red Leaf Retrocast. So go over to Wrestling News World. The previous episodes one is written on and up and over there, so go check it out. And Kay, this is a good opportunity to plug your podcast one more time.
Yes. So if you haven't heard it earlier, I have a podcast, the Big Egg Joshi Podcast. My first 14 episodes were covering various Joshi promotions, sort of giving you a rundown of their history, their titles, sort of some of their notable wrestlers and matches, sort of give you a feel for the promotion in case you have interest in it. And I've started a new series now where I'm talking about the wrestlers now. The first episode of that is on Momo Watanabe, my favorite wrestler. If you get a chance, go check that out, definitely. I'd appreciate it, definitely.
All right, and with that, we get to the best part of the podcast, the WCW Retro Watch, covering Nitro. The very last time I am playing the Nitro theme of 1998, when I get the 1999 theme going here. I think in the next episode I'll start doing that. So here we go. And foolish me, Kay, I did not write down what was happening on WWF Raw at this time, but if memory serves, for December 28th, 1998, I believe Raw had, I think that was the show in which there was like 7 matches and all of them had DQs, and there was a count out in a Falls Count Anywhere match or something. Or there was a DQ... Or there was a DQ in a hardcore match. It was something stupid. So that's what was going on Raw. So don't be foolish when you think that the Attitude Era was all gems.
Oh, no, it definitely wasn't. Like, I've gone back and tried to rewatch it because I watched it as a kid, right? And no, a lot of it does not hold up.
No. So WCW Nitro, December 28th, 1998, from Baltimore, Maryland, the night after Starrcade 1998.
Oh boy.
We begin with Eric Bischoff, Kurt Hennig, Buff Bagwell, and Scott Steiner. You know, the big names of the NWO.
The big names.
Celebrating in a limo with a little bit of the bubbly over beating Ric Flair at Starrcade.
Didn't they call it the bubbly?
No, that's what I'm calling it.
Oh, I thought they referred to it as that.
I don't know. It's just from the Chris Jericho pop from
I know.
AEW.
I'm aware.
If you want to listen to our Starrcade review or read about it, head on over to Wrestling News World or listen to last episode where Headlock Talk joined in for a very fun Starrcade review. Commentary team brings us into the show, recapping Bischoff's victory, and then they proclaim Nash as the new heavyweight champion, just nonchalantly, no big deal.
No big deal. That's what doesn't matter. He's champion, but who cares?
Cue, and I'm not joking, the same NWO recap clip we saw more than once on last week's Nitro.
It was so bad. It's like a 1-for-1. There was no edits or no different things added, or it was just a 1-for-1.
Nope, the same thing.
Just
when it
copy and
ends,
paste.
Schiavone says Bischoff was the culprit to showing that video again. Well, it sure didn't come across that way.
No, especially when you like pause and threw it to it almost. It's just it was weird.
And then, ironically, in hindsight, Larry Zbyszko tells us, without a doubt, the year of 1999 will be the year of WCW.
It's like, oh boy, you have literally no idea.
I can't wait. And then we get the Nitro Party clip of the day. You know, very 1990s as expected. Yes, this is still a thing. I say this every time. I don't know why it's still a thing. Followed by the very attractive Nitro Girls dancing. 11 minutes into the show. What a great way to start off the day after Starrcade. Good God. Did they even... I honestly don't recall. Like, I just went over this in my notes, and I can't tell you if they even said the undefeated streak of Goldberg was broken. I think they just proclaimed Nash as new champion, just as an off cue, because what's the most important thing that actually happened at Starrcade according to WCW? Eric Bischoff beat Ric Flair.
They did not mention Goldberg. I think his undefeated streak until like almost the end-ish portions of the show when it was Nash that they referred to it.
Not a big deal. Not something that the crowd. Oh God, you wonder why Goldberg lost so much steam.
I think Nash is the only one, that first one to mention it too.
I think so. Anyways, finally we get our first match of the show, and it's The Cat with Sonny Ono coming out.
Oh boy, that's how you start show, man. Start red hot with the Cat, the best athlete.
Oh man, you know, beginning with maybe Flair coming out, nah. Maybe Goldberg coming out, kicking ass of some, nah. Maybe the new champ, no. The Cat is what matters.
The best athlete.
The best athlete, 3-time karate champion, Ernest the Cat Miller, is the greatest promo and outcomes of all people. Chris Jericho with Ralphus.
That caught me by surprise. I did not expect that.
And Chris Jericho brings out a very shy, young, black hair with white frosted tips, Shima.
Right.
Jericho says he and Ralphus has scouted an opponent and found Shima Nobunaga, that's what his name was at the time, or as Jericho calls him, Shima Ding Dong. His words, not mine. You know, because that'll get him over. It's a quick, awkward squash match, and not sure if this was a real point to all of this, nor why Nitro starts this way after the biggest show of the year. So yeah, that was great. We recap the Goldberg and Nash highlights from Starrcade, and again, the Ric Flair heart attack angled. I am baffled at this point in the show what is happening in front of my eyes.
It's almost like that's what they were doing during the whole build-up, right? Like, you forget that outside of the Flair attacking Bischoff and stuff like that, they were doing this stupid replaying the same video package 6 times over.
It's very strange. Second match is fucking Norman Smiley. This guy, I'm done with this guy. Because
you don't like the wiggle?
Look, I don't like the wiggle. I don't like Norman Smiley matches. They all suck. They're going nowhere. He's against Chavo Guerrero, still with Pepe and his stupid stick horse. Even I'm on my last edge with Chavo Guerrero. Okay? I'm going to scream over these worthless matches. WCW deserves to lose this war as commentary plugs Raven, his therapy, and his mom that we're going to see later in the show. Now,
that got me so hard, though.
Look,
I was excited for that.
Just because it's the best thing on the show doesn't mean it's any good.
Listen, you're not wrong, but I'm still looking forward to it.
So at least we're excited to continue to see the train wreck that is Raven, because this character's over and done with. So we're just laughing at.
Oh, it's great!
We're laughing at the implosion. This match is dumb. It's boring. We expected it. I am so sick of Norman Smiley, his dancing hold matches, especially his quote-unquote push coming. Smiley is sexual assault dancing the stick horse in this match. I am not making that up.
This he definitely does.
This is what upsets Chavo and puts him over the edge. Is the sexual assault of a stick horse.
It's so bad.
And then they keep going back to it. This doesn't happen once. It happens twice in this match.
It almost happened a third time.
And I'm not joking. Tony Giovanni says, quote, only on Nitro.
He does.
Words have never been more true.
I think even he was sick of it. That's probably why he said that.
742, Smiley wins with the chicken wing. No way this match was less than 35 years old. Horrible. I'm serious. I am 32 years old. This match was at least 35 years. Now, I don't have all my notes written for this because there's a lot to break down, Kay.
Oh.
Raven, Canyon, and Raven's mom at the estate.
Oh, notes aren't needed. This is perfect.
This was so memorable. You're right. No notes were needed. We pull up in a fancy, not limo, but fancy car. As Canyon comes out and he's like, "Man, never seen a fancy house before."
Right.
Look at this. And Raven's mom gets out. The driver lets Raven out of the car, and he's all sad. He's like, "Man, I had to come home for this. Ugh.
I want to be home, Mom.
I want to be home. Come on, Raven." He's like shrugged shoulders, his head's down. They pull him into the house, and it's just gold awful material. It's so bad it's funny material.
It's the best.
Because we've totally accepted this character is ruined. There's no coming back. Raven's done, right? So we're just enjoying the ride.
It's like, take off your jacket, Raven. I like my jacket, Mom.
Yeah, she's trying to get the jacket off. He has I think he has a Slipknot shirt on or something. I forget what it was.
It's so
it was some crazy band. It was funny. He immediately goes to the bar. He's like, "Hey, Canyon, pour me a drink." "No, Raven, I'll make you some tea." Or no, chocolate milk. He's gonna get some of the chalk.
Milk.
He's gonna get some of the chalk. No, I won't. No. Give me a Does he say give me a soda? I think he says give me a club soda. That's what he says.
Yeah, give me a club soda. I'll put a lemon in it just like you like, honey.
Yeah. And he's at the couch. Mom, he just picks up the remote. He's just fiddling around. "Mom, the TV's not working." "Use the remote." I am using the remote, Mom.
It's not working, Mom. No, she's like, "I'll make you a sandwich." "I don't want a sandwich, Mom." At some point, she mentioned making a sandwich.
That was the whole segment. That was the whole thing.
More of this. This is literally all I'm looking forward to.
Well, I have been informed by the audience here that we are getting more Raven's mom segments.
That's amazing. I'm happy for this. It could not be any better. Like, this is... The therapist thing is going to be gold. I count on it.
Yeah, I can't wait for the therapist to come, and he's just pulling this bullshit. Anyways.
Oh, I'm talking about feelings, Mom.
I want to talk about my feelings. What about your feelings? Oh.
You don't understand me, Mom.
You understand the wrestler inside me.
You don't understand what I've been through.
Fit Finlay versus Booker T is a match. I need these matches to have purpose and the wrestlers to actually have some upward movement. This is what we need to see more of. This is desperately needed on the show, as Tenay tells us that possible TV title purposes could come out of this match. That isn't good enough considering this has been the same thing for at least 18 months at this time in WCW. That's the problem. We've seen this before, and these guys have gone nowhere.
Right.
I also want to point out that we have no main event, nor any other matches on the show being said. As for the match, it was fine. 6:52, Booker T wins.
Right, but I think I agree with what you had said, though. It's like they don't have any matches. They're just throwing matches together with no purpose or rhyme or reason.
Mm-hmm.
And so this one having at least somewhat of a reason made it at least more interesting if the match itself wasn't very good.
Yeah, because, I mean, we can directly compare AEW. At least we see, like, if this was AEW, let's say Fit Finlay versus Booker T in 1998 was on 2020 AEW.
That'd be something.
We could see a young Booker T get a title shot on Dynamite like 2, 3 weeks, 4 weeks from now against the champion. He may lose, most likely, but then he'd be put in a program that would be on pay-per-view, and you'd see that upward movement. You'd see him being put in main event situations. He wouldn't be doing these useless mid-card matches for titles no one cares about for 2 years.
Right. It's like it's no real progression, like you said before. There's no upward momentum. They're just kind of sitting where they are.
It's going to be interesting to see how AEW compares, after 2 years, compared to the 96 to 98 span of WCW that we have a direct correlation to.
I don't think they'll be that bad. At least if they're that bad, then there's something wrong.
We're definitely going to see how guys progress or maybe not progress. So that's fun.
Right.
Mean Gene in the ring to interview Ric Flair. My favorite thing on the show.
This is the one where he strips down, right?
Yes, this is the famous strip promo. So yeah, Ric Flair comes out with Florida Gators bag, of all things.
That was weird, wasn't it?
Yeah. He's got his suit, coat, luggage for some reason. He is ashamed he got his ass kicked last night as Gene tries to save it. Hey man, it was by interference. Flair got drunk with Arn Anderson, he got on the plane, and then he changed his mind about going home. He had to come to Baltimore.
Right, with Florida Gators gear.
Yeah. He calls out the man, Eric Bischoff. It's funny you mentioned that, because he did beat him, he is now the man. And he, quote, "I've lived the life of a king because the people have allowed me to. And yes, this is the infamous stripping promo. It's yours." He opens his luggage, rips money, strips down to his boxers, he struts, he torpedoes his Gucci shoes into the audience. Probably knocking someone out in the motion. Give him one more shot on the stipulation of if he wins, he gets to run Nitro for 90 days. Or his career in WCW is over. And then he handcuffs himself to the top rope until he gets what he wants. He will come back from commercial naked.
Yeah, I like that part. It's like, if you go to commercial, I'll come in. I'll be like, I have less on when you come back, or something like that.
Right. And then they come back from commercial, and then Flair, looking like he's going to strip, he goes, "Mean by God, Gene." Cue Bischoff's music immediately. I was like, I love this. This is great. This is what we need on Nitro.
It's supposed to be going on. Yeah.
Yeah, this is very surreal. Bischoff, from this moment on, he kind of soaks it all in. It's very strange. He seemingly kills the crowd during this. He mocks the cuff Flair. Flair is a madman. He's like salivating. He's like, come here if I may. He's like grabbing at him, but he's handcuffed. And Mean Gene's like, "Where's the key, bro?"
Hey, where's the key, man?
You have that key? At least Bischoff revels in the idea of taking all of Flair's money, hopes, and dreams. He loves this idea. He's like, 90 days? And I get, he's so confident of all this that he's like, yeah, I beat you last night. I have the NWO with me. I'm all for this, right?
Right.
After Psycho Flair spits and fires, Bischoff accepts the challenge after more glorious shit-talking. At least that was good. There's our main event. This is our main event for the evening. Fine. Cool. This is the reason why I remember this Flair-Bischoff match more than the Starrcade match. This was good television.
Flair carried the promo very well. Flair is an amazing promo.
Yes. Unfortunately, the rest of the show until that main event was pretty garbage.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Nitro Girls dance and plug their calendar. So if you want the 1998 Nitro Girls calendar, go for it. I'm sure you can get it on
You
eBay.
can find it somewhere, yeah.
Barry
Like
Windham
Saints
and his recovered balls versus Prince Iakea. Kill me. Yes, another worthless undercard type match. The crowd is dead. Windham wins inside 4 minutes. Move on. Mean Gene to interview a security guard.
Oh, God.
They explain the use of the cattle prod, aka stun stick, that hit Goldberg last night at Starrcade.
This wasn't just any security guard, though. Wasn't he like they said like a SWAT team, like a military person or some weird, like, off-the-wall, like, thing that he clearly was not?
Indeed they did. Clearly this isn't the same one that was used in the main event match.
No, it definitely wasn't.
Yeah, but they further explained the danger of using such a device, and was it indeed the reason Goldberg lost the title?
I mean, yes.
Yes, it was, Mean Gene. A dumb question and dumb segment.
Very dumb.
We get a commercial plug for the N64 game WCW versus NWO Revenge.
I had this game. The only thing in WCW I had, and I liked it.
Well, okay, I didn't have an N64, but my friends did. Nostalgia hit hard here with this one.
It definitely did for me, too.
Mean Gene's third appearance on the night, if you're keeping count, to interview DDP this time. DDP, notably coming off his victory versus the Giant, but that's yesterday's news.
Yes.
He loves his victory, but let's move on. He is very angry over the Black Cloud, aka Sleazy E, Bischoff, and the act of Scott Hall. Boo. He wants to work for Flair and basically backs him up. Feel the bang. Not bad, simple, but it really just throws his match off to the side. I didn't really like that.
No, I also didn't feel like it was even necessary, really.
No,
it felt like killing time more than anything.
Well, especially since DDP had like no role to play in that main event.
Yeah, that's what it feels like, just killing time.
Yeah. Cut to backstage with Conan and Disco Inferno.
Oh, God.
The Wolfpack Boys, I spelled that with a Z in my notes, by the way.
Oh, very 90s of you.
Yes. Berate Disco as Nash has a script in his hand before he heads to the ring and books Disco a match. This is your first segment with the new world champion that beat the undefeated Goldberg, and he's talking about Disco fucking Inferno.
Not only that, but just how surreal it is that I think at this point, doesn't he have the book?
Yes.
And he has the script in his hand and talk about booking a match. It's just like, you couldn't make it more obvious.
Yeah, and in hindsight, it just infuriates me more, as this is basically the direction WCW goes with this nonsense. I can't wait for more Nash. Heavy sarcasm.
Ah, yes. What do you mean Nash is a bad wrestler? I thought he was great. Isn't he world champion?
Yeah, he's world champion. So yeah, he books Disco. You want to be in the Wolfpack? Okay, you have to beat Bam Bam Bigelow because he was in the main event. Blah, blah, blah. Eddie Guerrero and Juventud Guerrera defeat Kidman and Rey Mysterio Jr. 16 minutes, 23 seconds. I have a lot to say about this. Huge plug by commentary before the match, putting over the Triangle Cruiserweight match from Starrcade last night and the Eddie versus Kidman match. Indeed, both were quite good. Strangely enough, Mysterio Jr. also comes out to the LWO music despite being kicked out, but yet not.
Very confusing.
Yes. Not sure why, considering he's been kicked out multiple times, and he comes out to different music beforehand. So he's back to LWO. WCW will WCW. Now for the match. As I pop the mic. Fun story, at least, of Eddie having dissension with Hoovy as Ray and Kidman are in control, but the match is a mess, and it breaks down multiple times. Very sloppy. They were not on the same page.
No, definitely they weren't. It was very obvious.
Occasionally, Eddie and Hoovy take control of themselves. It was a fun lucha-style match, if I'm taking a vacuum look at it. Stereotopes from Raid Kidman and Nitro heads to commercial, so very 2020 of them.
Right.
When we return, Hoovy is in control, missing the match turnaround completely, so yes, very 2020.
Yep.
It's very modernized wrestling, as well as production reminiscent of modern WWE and Western wrestling TV in many
All
ways.
of those cuts.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Unfortunately, the crowd could not give two shit about this match because of, well, the booking and the looming NWO feel, which fails.
Yeah, funny how that works.
Yeah, it's funny when you make a stable look like fucking dumb shits and worthless that the crowd doesn't care.
And the other stable look like they're omniscient, always there to do everything. Cough, cough. Oz Academy being a more modern example.
There was a few high spots that the crowd almost got into this, and near the end of the match, because these guys are awesome, but there was a miscommunication team instance and no interference, shockingly, from the LWO this time, and the heels just simply win.
Yeah, I think we were both expecting there was the guy that was standing outside to interfere, and he just never did. He just stood there the entire time. Didn't even try to interfere.
No. Kevin Nash and the Wolfpack come out. That's Conan, Luger, and still no Sting or Savage, mind you.
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it?
Keep that in mind. A lot of boos towards Nash despite cheering for the Wolfpack entrance. So this entire group is indeed a fucking entrance song.
It is a cool song, nothing more.
Yeah. Nash claims to right the wrong at Starrcade. Also, if Disco wants into the Wolfpack so bad, he can join if he beats Bam Bam Bigelow later tonight. Ooh boy, can't wait.
Yeah,
now,
exciting.
Scott Hall, he says. Nash understands his motives, but Nash takes this still as an insult, and he has respect for Goldberg. Resounding boos from the crowd still. Nash wants to still make this right and demands next Monday night on Nitro in Atlanta a world title rematch.
Oh boy, we know what's next, don't we?
Mixed cheers for this, and Nash proclaiming he will kick Goldberg's ass. Amazingly mute reaction for this promo and announcement.
Right. It's almost like you killed them.
You can feel the damage done after Starrcade with this crowd.
Oh, it's noticeable almost immediately.
Now, looking in hindsight, and we know what happens on the next Nitro. If Goldberg did indeed win the title back from Nash, then breaking the streak the way they did and how they cooled off Goldberg the way they did, maybe unintentional, knowingly or not, they could have salvaged, the whole breaking the streak thing, because that's a tough thing to get out of, is this undefeated thing that you put on somebody, right?
Right.
But they didn't do that.
No, of course they didn't.
I'm trying to look at the positive spin on the matter.
Oh, there's no positive spins here. It's dumb. Every way around. You should never have taken the belt off of him to begin with, and you should have booked him stronger from the get-go, with the belt at least.
I think you could have salvaged a lot if you would have actually came through with this announcement and Goldberg actually wins, because then the reformation of various stables and heel turns would have made sense.
Right, instead of what we get next.
So we'll talk about that more next episode. Bam Bam Bigelow defeats Disco Inferno 242. Almost total and complete squash match to no reaction. Unfortunately, Disco gets enough offense in to basically tell us, the audience, two things. Disco has a chance. It makes Bigelow immediately enough of a mid-card guy from this point forward.
Right.
Now, we'll say Bigelow looked fucking strong as fuck, because he lifted this dude up with one arm and then just pile drove his ass. It was awesome.
Yeah, he destroyed. It was a squash match. He just destroyed him the entire way through. Disco had almost no offense in it, I don't think, at all.
Yeah, but giving him a hope spot in general just kind of, I really think that brought down Bigelow too much, even for this audience of 98.
Right. We already know he becomes a mid-carder anyways. Isn't he out in a couple years?
Because of this bullshit.
Isn't he out in a year or so after this?
I think he wrestles through 99. I'm not sure about 2000.
Yeah, because I don't remember seeing anything about him after this.
Bischoff jokingly training with Hennig backstage. Commentary recaps the heart attack angle to make clear of what happened with Flair's doctor. So yes, we get a doctor explanation.
As we looked up some of the terms, not make sense explanation.
The doctor explains all the symptoms Flair went through and makes up Flair being treated, to which on Nitro never happened. We saw with our own two eyes he wasn't treated at all.
No, see, you forgot. He was treated with chloroform.
Oh, right, yeah.
Yes, because that's what I think treating poison is, the thing that knocks you out.
So they go into that. It's a lot of doctor speak, and says he did not suffer a heart attack, but was actually suffering due to poisoning due to the overuse of a drug called digitoxin.
What you found out has to do with the kidneys.
I can't believe WCW indeed went through with the poisoning angle after this heart attack. Unbelievable. And the fact that we saw a poisoning angle on WWE TV in 2020.
Right. It's like weird how that is, right?
Yeah. As I push my cat out of the way.
It's very dumb. Very, very dumb.
Yes. Mean Gene number 4, keeping track like me, approaches Bischoff and Handy, and they are now upset because Gene says it was food poisoning, which makes no sense as Bischoff is now totally distraught and he's very upset because he's informed the Horsemen are there.
Oh no.
Oh no. Scott Steiner with Buff Bagwell and their personal ref versus Conan, the current TV champion, who just defended it against Chris Jericho last night on pay-per-view. Title on the line? Okay, I guess. Guess I'm paying attention. Scott Steiner's getting the title match. Not the U.S. title, mind you. Because that's Bret Hart's.
Yes, and his groin pull.
And his pulled groin, who's also not on the show.
No, not at all.
No Sting, no Bret Hart. So if you have a Scorpion Deathlock or Sharpshooter as your finishing move, you are not on Nitro.
Jeez, where is Sting?
He was taken out by Bret Hart.
Oh, right.
At the previous pay-per-view, not Starrcade. Or, no, 2 before that, I think, actually. Anyways. Conan takes out the personal ref before the match, and then Scott Dickinson comes out to be the referee. Bagwell frequently interferes, and it's not a DQ, which is very strange. Commentary explains this is intimidation from Scott Steiner.
Ah, yes, intimidation.
This match was garbage.
It was terrible. It was awful.
Luger comes out and chases off Bagwell. But the interference and timing costs Conan via distraction. And an inadvertent assist from Luger because they run into each other, and this gives one Steiner recliner later a new TV champion in Scott Steiner. He wins, so now we're getting Wolfpack discourse.
Right, as if we needed anything with this group that didn't even have anything to begin with. Right.
So the breakup of the Wolfpack is coming, if that much is not clear at this point.
Right, and of course Scott Steiner wins, right?
Yeah. Scott Steiner wins. He's the new TV champion. Scott Hall defeats Bryan Adams in 5 minutes, 35 seconds. Note to Hall wearing a Goldberg shirt when he came out.
Still that was interesting.
Hall's promo is that he's disgusted about Nash's response. Great, we're back to the Hall and Nash dissension.
Yay. Aren't you excited?
This is garbage. I hate it so much.
Oh, it's so bad. All of the show is bad. The Raven stuff is the only good stuff, yeah. And it's bad
Crowd
too.
Is just death quiet and barely chants Goldberg for a couple seconds. The split of Hall and Nash and their eventual return together, and most of all, the journey of how it should have been, should be easy money. But unfortunately, WCW and the storytelling of this has been absolutely horrible. A huge miss of 1998 just to add to their growing list of blunders.
But 1999 is going to be the year of WCW.
So we've been told, Kay.
At least twice on this show.
Now the match was shit and boring. The moment Adams puts Hall in a bear hug, I died. I died inside. I really did. It just, time stood still, and then Hall wins. Whatever.
Right. It was a very, who cares kind of match. It was very bad.
Buffer out for Flair versus Bischoff. Flair comes out in a slick black and silver robe with all of the pyro.
All of it. The entire
down
budget.
The match steps. Yes. Bischoff, however, delays and delays as Buffer says the intro and also delays. This was quite good, I thought.
It was
Bischoff then tries to leave the building into a limo, and then hilariously, Mongo returns with a huge grin, and the other horsemen emerge from the limo and all carry Bischoff to the ring. This was hilarious.
It was
so
great.
Bischoff was indeed worried for good reason.
Right.
So, Flair's new gimmick these days is violently attacking the testicles of his opponents.
Yes, dick kicks, as they're called.
Yes, luckily the ref doesn't care.
No.
Flair beats the hell out of Bischoff again for the second straight night. All of the NWO come out as Elizabeth in an NWO Hollywood shirt, whom we haven't seen since spring. Oh, I'm sorry. I jumped ahead. I'm sorry. All of the NWO comes out as the Horsemen provide interference, but there's more NWO members than there are Horsemen, so people just start walking by them.
It's funny, isn't it?
And then they kind of stop before they get in the ring. So then the Giant does get in the ring and attacks Flair, which isn't a DQ. Very strange.
No DQ here.
And this is where it's surprise, surprise. I mentioned this before. No Macho Man during the Wolfpack celebration thing. He comes out with Elizabeth, who has an NWO Hollywood shirt on. They broke up this year.
Yeah, that's weird, isn't it?
They were in
that.
rivaling factions. They just ignored it completely. So we haven't seen Macho Man since fucking spring, and he joined the Wolfpack, and he was taken out by NWO Hollywood, heads into the ring, and he two-sweets Giant. To his surprise, like, oh, cool, I guess we're on the same team again. Everyone forgot, right?
Right.
So Giant and his dumbass turns his back and immediately gets low-blowed by Savage. And he's taken out of the ring, and he's like, yeah, man. He walks away. And then we figured by the promo and connection that DDP would have some role. No, he just hangs out outside the ring, whatever.
He doesn't do anything, just there.
Yeah, so the big moment was Savage, like, doing a swerve, but it wasn't. Because we just made Giant look stupid. Huge angle post-match because Flair puts the figure four on Bischoff and he taps out furiously. All the people on Team WCW get in the ring and celebrate. No Wolfpack, though, is very much noted.
No Wolfpack.
No, just Savage of the Wolfpack. That wasn't NWO.
Right, or WCW, or any of these things.
Yeah. So the post-match is the big celebration to close out WCW of 1998. Flair now has control for the next 90 days. Let's really pay attention to that, because this is the huge angle that ended the year.
Right. I get the feeling it's not going to matter.
And they keep plugging the Nash Goldberg main event title rematch on next week's Nitro. Could 1999 really be the year of WCW, Kay?
They've been telling me this. I'd like to believe them.
I mean, this was a great note they went out of.
Oh,
Bischoff's not in control. Our hero, Ric Flair, is. We're getting the title match rematch next week. What could go wrong?
Now let's see how they fuck it up.
Okay, Mr. Negative over here.
Oh, Mr.
Come
Negative.
on. We're leaving the year on a high note. 1998's behind us. That piece of shit year, forget it.
Oh, yes, that piece of shit year. We're going on to greener pastures in 1999 and other things that are going to be on the next episode that we both know about.
Absolutely. Goldberg's going to win the title back. He's going to be back on top. Flair's going to keep all that bullshit outside the ring. No, we're going to get it. Come on, man. Mark my words. Believe in me.
And Hulk Hogan, he's nowhere to be found. Goldberg's
no Hulk Hogan at the show. The show is immediately better without him, by the way.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Like, it's still a bad show, but no Hulk Hogan makes it a better show.
Yeah, but it's not dog shit. It's like maybe regular shit.
You know what? I can believe with that. We're moving up. We're moving up.
We're moving on.
All right, let me play the Vaulter drop, and we can get into the wrestling rankings right fast and close this out as quick as possible.
Awesome.
Let's close out this almost 4-hour podcast with the wrestling rankings. Let's go through the men's first, because the women's, I think, has drawn the most interest.
Yes.
Now, this did change because of the G1 today, Kay. Let's see if you agree.
Okay.
Minoru Suzuki, 15. Zack Sabre Jr., 14. Hangman Page, all the way down at 13. 12 is Kenta. Jay White, for his phenomenal heel work and going 3-0 in the G1, is at 11. Naruki Doi, 10. 9 is Ishii. 8 Ospreay. 7 Shingo. 6 is KZ. 5 is Santana Ortiz. 4 Naito. 3 is the Dragon Gate tandem of Kota Minoru and Jason Lee. 2 is the Best Friends. And 1 is Tanahashi.
I would only put Ospreay above... who's above him?
Shingo.
Yeah, I'd put Ospreay above Shingo.
All right. Tanahashi, number 1, kind of surprising to you?
No, he's had pretty good so far. I think he's lost, one match?
No, he won. I think he beat Yano.
No, I mean, he's only lost one so far in the G1. He's only lost to Naito, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so I think him being number 1's fine, especially because that Naito match was really, really good.
Yeah, I mean, that's my number 1 match. He was the number 1 performer. That's always my reason.
Right, and I think Ospreay being above Shingo makes more sense. He's like 3-0? No, 2-1.
2-1. And well, show is Shingo.
Yeah, but I think Ospreay's been much more impressive.
Shingo didn't have a Yujiro match.
No, but Ospreay also got a good match out of a Yujiro. No one else has done that so far.
I don't know about that.
He got a match out of him.
The women, number 10 is Julia. The Gulia makes the list.
The Gulia.
She's slowly accumulating points, but it's definitely not a lot at a time, that's for sure.
No.
9 is Micah. She cracks into some points there. 8 is Momo Watanabe. Only one good match. That's just the way it works, I guess. 7 is Himika. 6 is Suzu Suzuki. 5 is Shuri. 4 Sakushi. 3 Mayu Iwatani. 2 is Tam Nakano. And 1 is the 5-star winner, Utami Hayashishita.
I would put Suzu. Who's above her again? Yeah.
Shuri, Sakushi, Mayu.
I would put her above Shuri, definitely. I think Suzu, like the Shuri recent match was good, and Shuri's had some really good matches. But
Shuri had 5 matches to go off of, and there wasn't a bad one.
Okay, I think I see what you're getting from with that. But then would you put her above Sakushi then?
Well, I think Sakushi had the best match.
Right, and that's what my argument was with
her
Suzu.
Performance situation.
I think that's where my argument is for Suzu. I think the tag matches she's been in lately. I mean, I guess I don't know I've been watching a lot of the Dojo shows, and she's been sort of the standout in sort of the main events of each of these shows. She even showed off a few new moves that she didn't bust out in that big match. So that's sort of why I would put her above Shuri just a little bit. But I can see why you would have Shuri above her.
Well, there we go.
I don't think
Those are our rankings. Those are our rankings. Remember to leave us a nice little 5-star review on iTunes, Red Leaf Retrocast. Go check out the Big Egg Joshi Podcast. Lots of good Joshi stuff there. Post the updated rankings on redleafretrocast.blogspot.com, where you can see a nice little written article over the top 20 and what the movement has been and where we think some things could be heading. Got the G1. New Japan wrestlers should be making a big move here coming up as we continue on with the G1, and Dragon Gate doing 4 big shows to close off the year. Could see some Dragon Gate movement. So yeah, that'll close us out. I'm going to play my nice little NWO music that closes out each and every time. I wonder when I'm going to end the show off when the NWO goes away, quote unquote, sort of, kind of.
The new blood. Clearly.
Oh no. Might have to do that. This has been episode 66 of the Red Leaf Retrocast, titled Dangerous 5-Star Night. See you next time.
See ya.
We'll be right back.